Well, good afternoon. It's just after high noon here in Nova Scotia. Just after 11 Eastern time, it's time to fire up the old iRacing machine again and get ready for the third annual Jim Hallahan 333 at virtual Bristol Motor Speedway. Good afternoon. Thanks for watching. I'm Dillan, my first iRace in quite some time. Joint venture between Tim's Corner Motorsports and Vidane TV, and much like last year, it's the two dudes in the booth again, Dillan and Paul Strickland from Vidane TV. What's going on, my friend? Been some time talking to you.
That it has. Just catching up on a little bit of wrestling here before we came on the air. The Royal Rumble pay-per-view or premium live event, easy enough for me to say. Last night, I'm still a little bit hoarse from the 30th anniversary of Monday Night Raw this past Monday down in Philly. So bear with me as we get through this, but we're going to get through it together. How about that front row here for heat race number 1? Braxton DeWeese in that number 1 car, starting that Reaper Speed Lab machine on the pole. Tanton Woolridge right on his outside.
Yeah, strong competitor for sure. Looking through the rest of the list, Dylan Black, Tyler Hallahan, Devin Laughlin, Craig Kenny, Brody Lewis, Daniel Vitch, Chris Ewing, Aiden McDonald, Wade Craswell, and Jake Goodwin. Of course, this race in memory of the late, great Jim Hallahan, his grandson Tyler, in this first heat race. It's been a little bit, Paul, since I've done some iRacing announcing. You know, we did this a lot over the pandemic, and it's still fun to get out here occasionally for myself. You know, busy. It's still hockey season. I got a hockey game later tonight to announce, but good to get some iRacing in too. You do it all the time, and this is going to be a good one. And you know, sometimes the 333 takes a little bit with about 28 cars making that feature, but once they get going, they'll full get going here. So we'll have a couple of heat races. Believe we'll have 3 to 4 with the top 4 advancing, top 6 in the Consi races coming up, and we'll dive into the full feature shortly.
Lots of racing action coming up here at Bristol Motor Speedway, and the beauty of it all, we didn't have to do anything to clean the dirt off the track from last night's TCM Dirt Derby. Some great action on track, the Street Stocks, UMP Modifieds, and a 50-lap finale in those dirt super late models. Lots of fun to watch and call the action there. And you can check out that video on demand on the YouTube page, the Vidane TV YouTube page. Do a quick little search for us. Give us a subscribe, a follow, a share, all that good stuff. And let your friends and family know you're watching a little bit of entertaining iRacing here on it's still Sunday morning here in Connecticut. So we got ourselves a little bit of action coming up here. 20 laps on the docket for heat race number 1.
And the winner tonight will get 75 big ones. I'm not sure if it's in U.S. dollars or if it's in Canadian dollars. Either way, a little bit of money going in the pocket of the winner of the Jim Hallahan 333. The 2 previous winners, John Fitzpatrick and the anthem singer at Riverside Speedway, Noel Fougier. So we'll see if John and Noel are in the field here. It looks to be about maybe 35-ish competitors lined up for the positions coming up here. So we've got, you know, a variety of different drivers. We've got legend drivers, some sportsman drivers in the field throughout the day here too. Pro stock, you name it, they're here. And then you got crew members like Chris Ewing. So we're just getting ready to roll them out here, Paul, to fire off the first heat race for the Jim Hallahan 333.
And it's always cool as we cross into a new calendar year here in iRacing. A lot of the drivers at the real racetracks all over the place kind of update their iRacing paint schemes to mirror what they've got going on for the year. But the green flag's going to fly. Tanton Woolridge, great start initially up on that high side by side for the lead. Looks like DeWeese going to scoot on ahead just a little bit, take over that lead.
DeWeese makes the big move on the start to take the position from Tanton Woolridge. Tanton's really good at Bristol. I remember announcing some of the other races here, and Tanton had a decent year running Legends in 2022, moving up from the Bandolero division. I'm sure this year he's going to be one to watch out for. So to watch out, it's going to be that 4th position. Top 4 will advance to the 333. Right now, Craig Kenny holds that position, but Vitch on his back end going to be coming up here shortly. So the top 4 a little broken away in pairs there. 20-lap heat race to set the field partly. We'll have a couple of Consi races coming up. May start the feature a little earlier than originally advertised just because there's not as many drivers as there was. And there's some lap traffic. Oh! I was just going to say lap traffic getting in the way of the leaders and the caution's out. But did I see DeWeese get turned? He did too, it looked like.
Yeah, it was Wade Craswell there in the 67 car. Got a little bit involved earlier on in an incident, got himself down on pit road. It looked like he was just coming off the racing, or coming back onto the racing surface after jumping off of pit road here. We'll take a quick peek here on the U-House Racing Design Instant Replay. Here you can see the battle for the lead Up ahead, that 67 car, Craswell, tries to move up to the racetrack, top of the racetrack. The 8 car just right into the back, and there you can see Campbell in the back of that 8 car. Spinning bolt driver. It looks like they hold on to it, but lots of leaning on each other there. A little bit of a wonky thing here for the first caution of the night. Morning, afternoon, whatever time of day it is.
Whatever it is. Can we say that he LePaged him?
Definitely looked like a little bit of a LePage there, yeah.
So it looks like
10 years ago now? Holy cow.
Oh, no longer. Nah, my goodness, like 15 years ago.
Yeah.
2008, I think. Long time. So the first caution out, and I believe, Paul, that caution laps will count?
Yep, caution flags do count here this morning, this afternoon, whatever time of day it is, whatever time of day you might be watching this one here. And it's kind of cool to see one of the neat things with the iRacing service, with the iRacing simulator. The time of day is actually going on as we go along with this race. We saw a lot of it last night as well with the TCM Dirt Derby. Started in the daylight, and these drivers had to go through a track surface change, the track change, the temperature dropped just a little bit. You had a lot of sun glare in the going into the corners for a little bit before that sun completely sets, and we ended up racing underneath the lights last night. So I believe going to be doing a little bit more of the same here as the morning, afternoon, and evening goes on here. 333 laps is quite a distance here at Bristol Motor Speedway.
Yeah, it'll go faster than Hiccup once they fully get going. These super late models, they boogie around Bristol Motor Speedway faster than the Cup cars and Xfinity cars, really. All right, here we go. The pace car is off. We're back green flag racing after that first caution. DeWeese and Woolridge still holding the top 2 positions. Probably a little bit of damage, I would say, for sure, on the number 7. I'm wondering how much mechanically with iRacing, of course, a simulator, so it's going to simulate that damage. There's Tyler Hallahan making the move around the number 24 Goodwin. A couple of cars battling further back, too. Tyler hoping to make this big race, of course, in memory of his late grandfather, driving the Hugger colors there. That's the only 2-wide battle we can see between the 224 cars, with 11 laps to go in heat race number 1. As mentioned, we'll probably have it, I think, Paul, by the numbers, it seems like we'll probably have about 3 heat races.
Yeah, looking like 3 heat races. I'm taking 4 from each of the heat races, and I'm taking, I believe, 6 from each of the last chance qualifiers, but we'll get Tim up here in between races to confirm all that. And you can see it looks like everybody getting it sorted out here, single file pretty much all the way around the racetrack, and that battle for the lead starting to heat up just a little bit. Taking Woolridge going up the high side. Trying
to take that high, wide, and handsome route to get a big run, and Tanton's able to get that big run. Looking to try and get side by side with the number, it's number 8 on the screen, number 7 on the ticker of DeWeese. Trying to muster up that grip on the top side. Running that old style Bristol, some great 2-wide racing. Right now, DeWeese is staying on the bottom, and look at the run that Tanton's going to get neck and neck with the number 8 car. That's the battle for first right now. Kenny's holding the last transfer position in the number 90 car. Laughlin, a couple of seconds behind, it looks like, or just about maybe a third of a second behind, if my math is working correctly this afternoon / this morning. Woolridge makes the pass on the outside with 6 to go.
6 to go here in the first heat race. If our buddy Ashton Reiki was up here in the booth, he'd be telling us right now that high side, you watch it, it's going to come in later on in this one, already starting to show that it's a factor. You can see the 8 car moving on up the track, bringing a lot of cars up there with them. Black and Kenny trying to experiment up on the top side of the racetrack as well. That bodes well for the main event later on here tonight. High five from Barney in the flag stand. Just kidding, 4 to go here in heat race number 1.
Third and fourth closing in on first and second. Looks like maybe some lap traffic going to get in the way. I think that, trying to see, that's going to be Lewis in front of the field there. So Lewis about to go a lap down with 3 laps to go here. First heat race for the Jim Hallahan 333 here on a sunny Sunday in Nova Scotia at least. Probably could race at a racetrack, to be honest with you. All the snow's gone. Might be a little chilly, but I'm sure some drivers wouldn't mind that. 2 laps to go for Tanton Woolridge. And here comes DeWeese on the inside, throwing it deep. Wondering where Brody Lewis is going to go here. Is he going to block the way for the number 0? May happen one more time around. White silk in the air.
We saw lap traffic a factor early on in this, but you can see they're starting to catch the back bumper of the 22 car. I don't think it's going to be enough. Well, there you can see jumping up on the high side Doesn't look like it's going to be too much of a factor. Tanton Woolridge going to cross the stripe, take the checkered flag for heat race number 1. DeWeese, Black, and Kenny transfer on into the main show later on.
So Laughlin, Hallahan, Goodwood, McDonald, Ewing, and the rest of the field will have to go through the Consi if they want to try and make the 333 a little later on this afternoon. So Tanton Woolridge from Prince Edward Island will get the first big win of the day here, and we'll move right on. No messing around. This is the cool thing about iRacing. There's no waiting to line up the cars. They get lined up as fast as you can say iRacing pretty much here at the last great Coliseum, Bristol Motor Speedway. I'd love to get here to check out a race in person. Dirt or nighttime. Probably nighttime over that, though. Okay, stacked field here for heat race number 2 with Mike Alexander starting on the pole. Caden Tufts on the outside. Rational Richard Drake in the number 3. He'll be starting 3rd. And Brad Hayes on their outside. Moving on to 5th, that is Scott, I would say, Negus? Would you say, Paul? Negus, okay. Mitchell Montgomery going to be starting on their outside. Morgan Murphy, Dave Horton. Paul?
Turn the page. Oh, wrong button. Live TV works out great when it works.
Okay.
And the rest of the field.
And that's the field. So the rest of the field settling up there. Apologize for not getting right to him. Wait, is that Tim? Tim, what the hell are you doing in the booth?
Oh, there you go. There's the knock. We DQ'd Wade Creswell for the incident on the back straightaway in the first heat. We are not sure if the sim is going to allow him to run a LCQ or not. We hope he was late to get into the race and what have you. So just for that bottom note, we DQ'd him for pulling out in front of traffic, LePaging the field on the back straightaway in the first heat.
I said that too. I said that on the broadcast. Yeah. Anyway, so there you go.
Already some penalties early on in this one, and it's still not even noon here in Connecticut here, just an hour ahead of time, or an hour behind, it seems like. It's past noon.
Yeah, hour behind,
yeah. I know it's right around lunchtime. We should get Tim to get us some sandwiches or something.
Well, I got some ice cream.
Oh, that's right. You got that Oreo ice cream.
Oh, man, I'm going for that if we get a little break here. Okay, green flag is out for Mike Alexander and Caden Tufts. So again,
getting it sorted out, first and second single file. Looks like first 5 cars or so, and then a little bit of 2-wide, almost 3-wide action from 5th on back.
So top 4 again will advance in this heat race directly to the 333 coming up, and we'll have some Consi races coming up. Oh, saw that coming a mile away. Lapierre and the number, I'm trying to see who that is. That's the 39 of Negus. Yep, caution out on the speedway.
Another early one here, and another early opportunity to take a peek at the iRACING Designs instant replay. Kind of saw it happen there live on screen, but we'll take just another peek at it. These drivers know that they're trying to get up to the front of the field, trying to get up into that top 4 to transfer on into the big show here tonight. One of the longest races, Dylan, you and I were talking before the show, on the schedule here in the iRacing world. 333 laps around Bristol Motor Speedway. And here you can see the initial contact between the 8 and the 39. Looks like kind of going for the same piece of real estate there. And that's the thing with physics. You can't really apply 2 products at the same location at the same time.
Yeah. Oh. So a big hit there. So the 39 and the 8 already succumbing to a little bit of damage here in the second heat race for the 333 this afternoon. Cousins and Pollard are out of the race already. So it makes it a bit easier for some of those other drivers to secure those top 4 positions.
And lights off on that iRacing pace car. Going to line them up 2 by 2 once again here. Tufts up on the outside. Mike Alexander down on the bottom. Hayes, Drake, and Horton going to be the top 5 once they come around and take that green flag here. 16 to go here in heat race number 2.
So they'll come around turn 3 and 4 to get ready to refire the boys here in heat race number 2 for the Jim Hallahan 333, the 3rd annual, started in 2021. Of course, unfortunately, losing our good friend Jim Hallahan in the fall, or winter, pardon me, of 2020. Green flag back in the air. Been a lot of great racing that Jim's been looking over ever since. Some new champions, some familiar faces getting back to victory lane in the Maritimes. And here on iRacing, we've had some great runs throughout 2020 onward. Mike Alexander is one of those guys who's had those dominant runs. I remember doing a lot of the racing, Paul, in 2020 and 2021, and pretty much every race that Mike was in was always a contender, and still the case here as Mike will pedal around the 0-0 of Caden Tufts.
You can see Alexander up on the high side, a little three-car battle there for third on back as well. They get it sorted out single file once again. Tufts backing into the tire tracks of that 75 car, and we say this a lot here at Vidane TV. He's doing his homework, trying to see where he can maybe potentially get around that 75 car, trying to find out where he's slower, where he's maybe a little bit quicker, and you can see right now just right in the tire tracks, trying little small minor adjustments here as they cross the stripe and take 10 laps to go.
So they're almost halfway through this first heat race, and yeah, your damage will reset, but you don't want to take yourself out going too crazy. The top four will advance. Right now, Hayes and Richard Drake hold those final two positions. Mitch Montgomery is hot on the heels of Rational Richard, so two great mini-stock drivers from the Maritimes, Mitch from Prince Edward Island and Richard from Nova Scotia. So I'm wondering how much mirror driving Richard is doing while also trying to pursue third at the moment. We're on board right now with Caden Tufts. He's looking at the rear end of the number 75, Mike Alexander. Mike taking that middle lane here at Bristol Motor Speedway. Clicking him off and wanting him down here at the last great Coliseum, one of the greatest racetracks in the world, both virtually and in real life. And Caden Tufts holding comfortable in second right now. Hayes by themselves right now in third, not really getting pressure from Richard Drake. Richard, on the other hand, has a bit of distance between them. Well, actually, it's about equal distance between third, fourth, and fifth. Richard throws it down low. I wonder if that was maybe a bit of a bobble there, Paul.
And you can see that 12 car Montgomery moving a little bit further on up to the racetrack, almost touching that safer barrier on the outside of the wall. Richard Drake kind of utilizing the middle of the groove there. And 12 car seems like he gets really good entry there. Doesn't quite have enough to kind of close back in. There you can see big advancement there for the 12 car. The 141 starting to get all over the back bumper of the 7 of Hayes.
Looked like maybe Montgomery threw it a bit deep there and kissed the wall in the rear end, as now Richard Drake is turning up the pressure on the number 7 car of Hayes. He wants third because he knows that Mitch Montgomery's hungry for that final transfer spot. This is the kind of bubble racing we like to see. Some action towards the end with Mike Alexander still leading this thing. Handful of laps to go. Montgomery threw it deep there in turn 1 and 2. Washed up the track a little bit. Here comes Richard Drake on the inside now of Hayes, coming up to 2 laps to go.
Popsicle sticks up in the air. The battle is, in fact, for third, 7th place. The 7 car Hayes has it. 141 wants it, but he wants to hold on and protect that transfer spot there, holding on to the 4th position. Montgomery in the 12 car, been driving it deep the past couple of laps, trying to close that gap to see if he can get up to at least the back bumper of the 141.
And coming towards the finish, Mike Alexander's grown his lead by a little bit. Mike Alexander will win the second heat race for the 333. Tufts, Hayes, and Drake advance automatically to the 333. Montgomery downward will have to go through the consi if they want to make the 333 this evening. Or this afternoon. Whenever the heck we're doing this.
There you can see the finishing order there for heat race number 2, and we're already getting them lined up for heat race number 3. And once again, kind of a who's who here in these Tim's Corner Motorsports special events. Is everybody getting lined up. One of the biggest races of the year that we do here on Vidane TV and with Tim's Corner Motorsports. And there you can see awesome shots there from Track Cams 22. Got to give those guys a shout out. But Ryan Messer going to start up on the pole. Matthew Barkhouse on his outside.
And we'll move on to one of the Americans in the field there with James Polsky. Would I be right in pronouncing that right, Paul?
Poleski. Halfway there.
Poleski. Okay. Poleski. Dave Cassidy, Chris McKenna, Devin Smith. There we go. The Mass champion from 2022. Quentin Carpenter, along with Cody Olsen, Cadence Frizzell, and Chris Bingley at the back of the field.
11 cars lined up in this one, taking the top 4 to the big show here tonight. And the rest of the drivers going to get lined up in the consolation races. One of two of those taking the top 6 into the big show here this evening. Going to be a lot of fun to watch as we catch up. 333 laps on the docket for that big show. And just about getting wrapped up with the heat races here. Then we get into the consies, the last chance for romance, as old buddy Mike likes to say. That's going to be a lot of fun watching here.
And hey, thanks a lot for watching either on Tim's Corners Facebook or Vidane TV, whatever outlet you're watching on. Appreciate it here on a Sunday afternoon / Sunday morning in the Northeast of the States and the Maritimes. Wherever you're watching, it's going to be a good one here with Ryan Messer, another great iRacer. Had a great year, actually, in 2022. A couple of heartbreaks, though, too. I know when they were at the IWK 250, had some engine woes, but some decent runs over home at 660. It's a Barkhouse on the outside. I know Matt looking to get back into racing here soon enough, and the green flag will come out for Big Orange, green in the air.
Great start for the one car, and you can see James Pileski also very good on restarts, as we saw last night in the TCM Dirt Derby events. That 93 car up towards the front in each and every single one of those races. No different here. Going to move on up to the high side and try and hold on that 15 car. New colors for the 15 of Matthew Barkhouse.
Wait, what?
Skipping all over myself here. Easy enough for me to say.
Yeah. Anyways, Barkhouse falls in position as Pileski, will get that position. Now there's the 24 of Christensen starting to hound on the back end of the number 15. Matt's a great iRacer too. He's going to have some strong competition for that third position here. There's the 24 starting to squeeze that nose down, starting to put the pressure on here. Devin Smith already a lap down here in the number 94 car. It's all behind Ryan Messer. Second, third, and fourth. Pretty close together here in this third heat race.
And you can already see early on in the event, our drivers already kind of taking chances with different lines going around the racetrack. Some guys a little bit higher than others. Some guys kind of right in that center groove. You can see Christensen in the 24. Looks like Frizzell around actually bring out the caution flag here in his 15.
So the caution flag will come out once again here in this heat race. Frizzell down in the pits. I know they got themselves a new mini stock here in 2023. So let's take a look on the Vidane replay.
There you can see everything looks good so far. Crossing the stripe, back the tapes up. And there you can see back end kind of gets a little bit wonky there. Loses it there up in the outside wall. A couple of quick little taps and a scrape or two, but all in all, not as bad as it could have been for the 14 car.
That would have been a brutal hit if it was real life. That overcorrection. Scary.
Lining them back up 2 by 2, and this is going to be an interesting showdown here for the restart. The one car of Messer, the 93 of Pileski. Both these guys very, very good on restarts here. We're going to get one of those here once we cross the stripe with 12 to go.
So our consies will be coming up here shortly, and then we'll go 333, $75 to win. One of the top TCM iRaces for 2023. Green back in the air. Of course, these restarts give an opportunity for that driver in 5th and 6th to maybe jump the hop there, but not much of a hop jump for 5th and 6th, McKenna and Cassidy, as they're still trying to get in line and battle for position. Cassidy slides in front of the number 13, or pardon me, McKenna slides in front of Cassidy. Now Cassidy on the inside of the number 35 trying to sneak that position. Now, Paul, even if they don't make that cutoff to make the race automatically, they still want to be as far up as they can. 5th ain't great in this race, but that'll put you up to the front in the consies.
100%. The better starting position you get, the more further up your pit road selection is going to be as well. So moving up in these heat races, having a good finish really shows that the car is good and strong, and it sets you up for a good start here in the main show, the 333 lapper later on this afternoon. And you want to make sure you're set up for success in that one. Take seat at 13 Cassidy, taking a peek down low on McKenna, 35.
Well, and anyone will know in real racing or racing, even if it's a video game like NASCAR Heat 5 that I play. The further back you start, the tougher it is. You're working your way through the field. You've got to use your car up a bit more to get up there. So any chance to get closer to the front, you can, even if it's an LCQ. You want to take advantage of that. But of course, they want to make the race right away and have a chance to maybe grab a bowl of ice cream and chill out and watch the consies. 7 laps to go in the final heat race for the 333 this afternoon. Ryan Messer and Pileski, your top 2. Barkhouse and Christensen running in 3rd and 4th. Right now, 2nd and 3rd pretty close together. McKenna has not been able to close in. Will now take the word out. They're starting to close in a bit now on the number 24, Christensen.
Also has himself a mirror full of Dave Cassidy in that 13 car, though. You can see up a little bit further higher on the racetrack, trying to get up to the 35, trying to get around him and set his sights on that transfer position there, the 24 car of Christensen, holding on to it. And you can see that battle for the lead, battle for second place starting to heat up just a little bit. Barkhouse taking a shot down low on the 93.
With only a handful of laps to go, they gotta be careful. They don't want to touch each other. These super late models, and Barkhouse threw it really deep there in turn 2, and they kiss the wall. They lose all that momentum that they got on the number, whatever number of Pileski. I can't see. What is it, 37 there, Paul? I don't remember. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter anyways. The 15 car Barkhouse threw it a little too deep, a little too much mustard there with 2 laps to go, but still holding strong in 3rd.
A little bit too much mustard on that. A little bit too much chrome on that 93 car. Pileski there in 2nd with a white flag, a white rag in the air for this one. Everybody chasing down Messer, showing that one car nothing to mess with. All he has to do is get through 3 and 4, hit his marks, and he's going to show that. We may very well be seeing Ryan Messer for finding himself down in victory lane.
So Messer, Pileski, Barkhouse, and Christensen will advance to the 333. The rest of the drivers, last chance for romance.
And results there for heat race number 3. We saw Messer, Pileski, Barkhouse, Christensen transferring on in to the big show. Everybody else, last chance qualifier. And looks like we're getting lined up for that very first last chance qualifier. Drivers getting lined up down on pit road once again. And this is the kind of racing that you show up to see here on a Sunday afternoon here on Vidane TV. Drivers knowing that they need to get themselves into the top 6 and make the show here for the big event.
Last chance for romance. So here are the drivers in Consi number 1. 33 laps this time around, so 13 extra compared to the heat races we just saw. Laughlin, McKenna, Murphy, Goodwin, along with Horton, Olsen, Ewing, Smith, Lapierre, Lewis, and Frizzell. Top 6, we believe, will move on to the big race. So Chris Ewing's on that bubble position, Chrissy.
And this is another opportunity for these drivers to get a little bit more laps, get some more laps under their belts and know exactly what their car's going to do. Maybe on a little bit longer green flag run here, getting into the big event here tonight. So kind of a little bit of an extended practice session for some of these drivers, and another opportunity to, again, race into the big show, taking the top 6 in consolation race number 1, and then the top 6 in consolation number 2 coming up right after. And then I believe we're taking a quick little ice cream break.
Yay!
Right back for the big event here this afternoon, and by that time it should be afternoon here in Connecticut.
Yeah, pretty much high noon over down in the northeast of the US of A. So 5 drivers will be on the sidelines watching the rest of the event on Tim's Corner and Vidane TV. 6 drivers will still be in the big show coming up, the Jim Hallahan 333. So the pace lights are off. The iRacing pace car will fire them up here and go for 33 green flag laps to determine the first 6 to come out of the last chance races. Gonna pull a big left there. Sharp left down here at Bristol Motor Speedway. And the green flag is out. Oh, and McKenna did not have a great start there. It looks like they may have spun the tires there, Paul. They're going to fall back to 3rd on the start.
And you can see trying to get things sorted out up front early on, but that's not quite the plan for the 43 car. Going to dip down low and try and take over. McKenna, big sideways there for Zell and Smith up into the outside wall in that 90 car.
MASH champion Devin Smith. Well, they're going to have to watch the rest of the racing. And I said whoa, too, because, yeah, McKenna, again, just the fishtail on that number 35 coming out of the turn. So they're going to have to keep a little foot on the pedal, the brake pedal maybe, to try and counteract that, but not to hit it too hard. Great battle for first right now between Laughlin and Murphy, with McKenna sitting in the catbird seat. Then you throw in Goodwin. Actually, the top 5, Paul, are all pretty close together here.
Yeah, top 6 making the show here, and you can see 2 by 2 all the way through the top 4. The 5th place car, the number 6, Olsen, holding on to it. And you can see different groups in this racetrack starting to really come in and affect how these drivers get around the racetrack. 47 car Laughing, holding on to the lead right now, using that high side, bringing the 24 up.
Oh!
Goodwin up into the outside wall just a little bit, slows down some of the momentum, but you can see just how big of a run that high side's starting to get.
Yeah, ripping off some of that vinyl, does it again. The 24 up in the greasy stuff, and it's getting beat around like a piñata. Oh, and just nowhere for that other driver to go, and T-boned again. Caution, back out. That's poor Chris Ewing. Had nowhere to go there with the 24 just being beat around. Tough break.
And we'll back up to you, House of Racing Designs instant replay. Easy to see this car with all the chrome on this one. And like you said, watching it in reverse there, tough break for Ewing in that 25 car. Taking a peek at the replay, you see his smoke starts up in the front. There's the turn, and bam, there's the shot into the left front. You can see up into the 24 car there as well. That's another quick little tap. So lots of front end damage and a little bit of scuff work there on the right side. And it actually looks like the car itself is chrome underneath that chrome vinyl wrap. So that's a good looking car for the 25 group.
So the virtual crew will have to wrench on that car to get her all ready. It's tough. Like, once you get loose and you're trying to regather that car, and the tops of any racetrack always usually gets the rubber up there, and the rubber that's flung off the tires. Just no grip. Look at that 24 beat up. Bowling shoe ugly, to quote our good friend, good old JR.
And it's tough here. Going to be, may very well be a little bit off the pace with that front end damage on the 25 car, but still able to see a transfer spot up ahead. Keep in mind, just has to get into that 6th position up in the front, but that's going to show us the green flag. 47 car Laughing, good restart down on the bottom side with the 43 of Murphy. Big run coming off of turn 2.
Murphy to the top will take the lead from Laughlin. McKenna still sitting in 3rd. Remember, top 6 will advance to this race, so Brody Lewis at the moment holds that final transfer spot with 23 left in the books here in Consi number 1. Second Consi coming up, and then we're going to features after a little ice cream break here on Vidane TV in Tim's Corner. Everyone getting their real cars ready for the 2023 season. Scanning at Facebook earlier, Paul, here in the Maritime. Of course, we don't get as much warm weather as down in the States as, wow, the 73 of Horton threw it deep there. A lot of the drivers in the garage with the heaters on, working on their cars, getting ready. A lot of great momentum and excitement, Paul, in our neck of the woods here for more divisions popping up and old divisions getting a second shot at some tracks like my home track of Riverside Speedway. And this is on the cherry on top too. And next weekend the Clash of the Coliseum starts up, so NASCAR gets underway. So even though it's bitter cold in some parts and snowing in others, racing is really starting to brew up here, along with the great racing down in the States, including the Snowball Derby coming up.
Yeah, always fun to watch the Snowball Derby, and the closer we get to springtime, the closer we get to summertime, and the closer we get to summertime, the closer we get to this guy getting back in behind the wheel of a street stock at Stafford Motor Speedway. Going to be a lot of fun. I'm really looking forward to that entire weekend, because the night before, SRX making the series debut at Stafford Motor Speedway once again, and Clint Boyer, Kevin Harvick going to be in that race. Going to be a lot of fun. Then we're shipping up to New Hampshire, going to Loudon for some modified racing, as well as the Xfinity and the Cup race. So huge racing weekend. I'd invite you down, but I believe that's the 250 weekend up
it's
there.
It's the 250 weekend.
So
yeah,
huge racing weekend all the way around.
Well, I want to correct myself here quickly. I said that it was the Snowball Derby. It's the World Series of Asphalt in New Smyrna. So just getting a little mixed up there coming up. Before all the racing, my friends come at me saying, come on, man, you don't know. Some Maritimers going to be taking a crackdown in Florida here shortly. My folks are going to the 500 this year. I'm super jealous of them. I wish they could stuff me in the suitcase, but I'm a little too big for that. Great battle up first here, and there's McKenna taking the lead from Murphy on the inside. McKenna showing their hand here in this race. So Olsen, Lewis, and Laughlin. Laughlin's been falling like an orange off the tree here in this race. And they're going to have some hot competition. Horton and Lapierre, well, not so much Lapierre, but Horton still in the spear of Laughlin's territory. So we'll keep an eye on that here. A little bunched up further back. We're on board now with Morgan Murphy.
You can see Morgan really searching on the racetrack for grip, trying to get a little bit of air on the nose of that car to try and get the nose to come down just a little bit and take advantage of anything that he can. A little bit further on back, you mentioned Bees Nest back here, 6 car up on the high side of 22. Hard, strong run down there in that Exalta number 22 machine, chasing down the number 24. That's kind of a neat little Jeff Gordon smash up there.
Yeah. One car you got to keep your eye on there is the one at the back of this pack here, and that's Horton. They're on the outside looking in. They're in 7th. That's not going to get them to the big show here, so Horton's going to have to really turn up the wick and throw some pressure on Laughlin and Lewis. And did I see a little bit of maybe some smoke kicking up there? Maybe a car maybe kissing the back end of the wall coming into one of the turns. Just a great battle. This is a great LCQ, and that number 22 is riding and scraping the Exalta paint off that car, and this is going to open the door maybe for Laughlin. Brody Lewis slapping the wall. We're on board with Horton right now. Horton all over the back of the number 47. They're taking the high line along with the 3 other cars in front of them.
Blood in the water for Horton in that 73 car nose. There's some damage to 24 up on the outside wall. Once again, you can see he's going to shoot down low. Lots of damage there. Going to try and get around that 47 car using that high side once again. A little bit more grip up there as well, but has to watch out for that outside wall. Right now, the 73's got it. 47 going to come back on the bottom.
This is a great battle for the final transfer position. Top 6 advance to the 333. And really, from 3rd there to 7th, it's anyone's race. If someone has a bobble, could you imagine being Goodwin? You're in 3rd right now. You've got some of that damage, but then you have a bobble and you're out. Could happen with 5 laps to go. Horton now gets around Lewis, and now Lewis is on position.
22 car has that transfer spot currently. Laughlin wants to get back in to that spot. The 73 car wants to move up the field and show that he's got a car to mess with. 4 to go here up in this one. Everybody chasing down McKenna in the 35.
Murphy running in 2nd. The big battle, of course, is 3rd to 7th. Lewis now is on the outside. Laughlin made the pass, looking at the ticker there with only 3 to go. Lewis now has to turn up the wick, and they were one of the drivers who kissed that wall, wondering if maybe there's too much damage on the number 22 and it's starting to wear away. Goodwin pulls around from the from this big battle here. So McKenna is your leader. Unless something happens, they're going to really punch their ticket to the 333. But we're keeping our eye on the final transfer spot. Right now, it's Horton with Laughlin on their outside. Laughlin in front by about half a car length. And Lewis is going to have to do something out of desperation. They were thinking about diving low, but not able to get it. Around turn 3 and 4, it's going to be McKenna getting the big win here. But we're keeping our eye on the bubble position. Lewis tries. Oh, wreck in front! Wreck in front! What happened?
Wow, big opportunity. Almost got around the 47 car. We'll have to double check on that.
McKenna was one of those drivers. Something must have happened with 1st and 2nd. We got to take a look at 1st and 2nd if we can here.
Of course we can with the way iRacing does replays. We'll have to take a peek at the starting lineup here, or the finishing lineup here. We can see Goodwin got the win. Olsen, it's not even the right one. iRacing, why you do this to me? Lining them up for LCQ number 2. Lots of action already. 33 laps back on the board. Oh man, this is going to be an exciting afternoon.
Well, the only thing I can assume, because we were watching the battle, we have to assume maybe that Murphy made contact with the leader there and caused them to spin, because we were watching that battle for the final transfer, and I was seeing some tire smoke. So apologize for not get in the full view. Something happened there, but of course at iRacing, the show carries on, so we didn't have time to look at the replay. But Commissioner Tim Terry, I'm sure, will straighten everything out here and let us know who's made the races. Here we go. Final LCQ for the 333 main event coming up here shortly. Mitch Montgomery and Tyler Hallahan on the front row. Dave Cassidy and Scott Negus there on row number 2. Aidan McDonald, Quentin Carpenter, and a couple more Canadian, actually pretty heavy on the Canadians here. Shane Skiavor, I would say. I'm probably pronouncing that. I do apologize wrong. Danny Vitch, along with Chris Bingley, Todd Cousins, Jonathan Pollard, and Craig Weagle now at the back end of this LCQ.
So 12 cars lined up. Looks like 10 getting ready to take the green flag, and we're taking 6 onto the big show here this afternoon. And you can see the lights are out on the iRacing pace car. Thank you so much for tuning in here to us early on a Sunday morning, Sunday afternoon, depending on which time zone you're in, here on Vidane TV for the coverage of the 3rd annual Jim Hallahan at 333. Showtime Paul Strickland Jr., Dylan Langell in the broadcast booth. Pace car going down to the safety of pit road. Green flag flies. Great start there from the 12 car Montgomery.
So Mitch Montgomery from Prince Edward Island, mini stock driver. The number 33, and there's Dave Cassidy getting around the number 33 of Tyler Hallahan. Just like we saw before, top 6 will advance to the main event coming up here shortly. And if it's like anything, we could have a pretty crazy final lap there. And we'll get the starting lineup all straightened out here shortly. So right now, McDonald is on that final transfer position, but still a lot of racing left in this LCQ.
There you can see the front 3-4 cars or so kind of lined up single file around the racetrack. Aiden Christensen back here in Aiden McDonald rather in the 133, chasing down Quentin Carpenter, trying to move up into the top 5. And you can see Aiden McDonald holding on to the transfer spot, a little bit of space in behind to the 88 machine there of Shane Seaver, doing everything he can to try and move himself up. Has a little bit of time. You can see about 29 or so laps to go in at this consi, but has to get up towards the front once to get into that transfer spot.
So Seaver's going to have to either hold down their Weagle for the moment and put some pressure on it. I now understand the reference when you said turn the page earlier. I get it now, Paul. It took me a couple minutes. It's too early. I haven't had enough coffee yet.
Yeah, getting lined up for pot number 2 of coffee. It looks like it's almost ready to rock and roll, so I'll grab that. I'll grab the coffee. You grab the ice cream. We'll catch back up here in the booth. And you can see everybody trying to chase down Montgomery now. Has about a 3/4 of a second lead over Cassidy in that second spot. He's moved up just a little bit. He's got Scott Negus right in behind, and the Hallahan machine, the number 33, there as well. Everybody kind of taking off laps here.
Just trying to race their own race and not go too crazy. McDonald again holding that final transfer spot. Skeever there in the number 88. They're in 7th. Vitch in the number 28 running in 8th. So they'll have to eventually really lay down the hammer if they want to try and get in the big race to make the big feature tonight.
Lead holding steady for Montgomery up front. Dave Cassidy, Negus, Hallahan, and Carpenter up into the top 5. And you can see Aiden McDonald still holding on to that transfer spot, and it's getting to be a little bit further on back to that 88, and now has a mirror full of that very loud Mountain Dew machine. Danny Vitch there in the 29. Turn the wick up just a little bit, wants to kind of advance his position on the track and maybe set his sights on the transfer spot for the 29 car. We'll see what happens, but right now just tucking into the tire tracks, the 88, and trying to find out again where he's quick and where he's slow and where he can potentially get around that 88.
And they're pretty far back there from the number, the car of McDonald. They're a little behind, so they're going to have to do something to try and compensate for where they are right now. And the thing too, Paul, they don't want to race each other too hard because that's just going to slow them up even more.
And you also want to make sure you get yourself in position for a late race incident. We saw that happen in the first one. We almost saw it happen. We knew something happened there at the finish of that first consolation race. So you got to be prepared for anything. Really make sure your head's on the swivel and know what everyone else around you is going to do. There you can see the 133 of Aiden McDonald holding on to the top 5 for right now, and just kind of stretching the field out a little bit as we get further on into the run.
Biding their time right now. Tyler Hallahan in the 33, today's race in memory of his late grandfather, one of the greatest racers in Canada. From Canada, Jim Hallahan. And now we're seeing a little battle there for second as now Negus has caught up to Dave Cassidy. And actually, they're not too far from Montgomery, too.
Starting to kind of accordion back up. You can see the 39 taking a peek down low, trying to get inside of that quarter panel of Cassidy into 13. And all as they're doing this, it seems like they're catching that car up in a second of, or the leader there of the 12th car. You can see that lead is dropping back now to about 0.3 of a second as they're running side by side. That's interesting concept there, but great to see. Battle for second starting to close in on the leader.
Yeah, maybe just Mitch isn't getting that fast line. Well, clearly he's not going to wreck on the front stretch, though. And those were the drivers who were on the bubble there, Paul. Or outside of the bubble, pardon me.
And you can see tough break for the 88 car, going to lose a lap as the leaders come on around. Taking a peek here at the U-House Racing Designs instant replay, find out what went down. We saw these two drivers really racing each other very hard throughout this one, trying to get themselves closer to a transfer spot. And man, oh man, we'll see what went down. We'll take a peek. 88 up high, Danny Fitch in the Mountain Dew machine. Goes up to the high side. And big run for the 29. Everything looks good at that point. 88 up into the outside wall. Nowhere for Fitch to go. Both cars go careening into that inside safer barrier. A couple of big hits for the 88 and the 29. They're going to have some work to do to try to get into those transfer spots.
Wrench on them, brothers. Wrench on them. So that's good news for Bingley there. They're going to move up to 7th on this restart.
Yeah,
and you know, go ahead, Paul.
That 84 car relatively quiet so far this evening, and just barely on the outside looking in. You can see Seaver there still down on pit road with Danny Fitch, and McDonald holding on to that last spot right now in that 133, but again, anything can happen here.
Anything can happen. It's racing, and it probably will. Tim?
Just quickly, guys, the first last chance qualifier, the incident on the white flag lap, we have put Morgan Murphy to the back of the field along with Chris McKenna where he landed. So unfortunately, Morgan Murphy will not be transferring into the feature unless he gets a provisional, and we're going to have a conversation with Tyler about provisionals after this LCS. So just keep that in mind. The 43 will be moved to the end of that first last chance showdown.
Okay. So there we go. Green flag back in the air. So the commish with some information after that crazy ending to the first two.
And you can see Montgomery taking off here with 11 laps to go. Has himself a little bit of distance back to the 39 car. And those guys heating things up in a three-way battle, triple threat match for that second position. Negus holding on to Cassidy and Hallahan right in the mix.
Bingley's going to have to put the hammer down if they want to catch up to 6th. They're a little bit behind. There's the number 88 there of Skeever having some issues. They pull him off. I was just having a nice breath there, Paul. Just a nice breath, trying to figure out what I'm going to say. 9 laps to go here at Bristol Motor Speedway, and the top 5 all pretty spread out here evenly. Montgomery, Negus, Cassidy, Hallahan, Carpenter, and McDonald. McDonald still holding that final transfer spot like they have the entire race here. There's Tyler putting pressure now in the number 13, trying to improve their starting position if they make it through here for the 333.
And you can really see that 33 car using that bottom side of the racetrack to try and get the car to turn just a little bit better, but the 13 drifting up a bit on one end of the racetrack here in 1 and 2. This time he's going to go a little bit different, going to go down the center of the racetrack. 33 going to follow on in his tire tracks as well. Carpenter back there as well. Just taking a peek, just seeing where these guys are going around. Looking relatively comfortable here at this point, a little bit further on back. McDonald holding on to that transfer spot, and he's got some breathing room back in behind them, but up front, not as much breathing room. Montgomery all the way up to the outside wall. 39, and Negus taking a peek down low.
Washing right up there, the number 12 car, Montgomery. They're getting lots of pressure. Negus trying to take that lead from the number 12, 39, trying to best their starting position for the 333 here. 4 laps to go, but like we saw in that first LCQ, they got to be careful because we saw first and second wreck each other. We didn't see, but we saw via the results that they took each other out. Montgomery gets a better exit there at a turn 1 and 2 that time around.
And you can really see that
12
car committed to the gimmick, going all the way up to the high side, whether the 39 is there or not. But you see the 88 coming off of pit road, the 39 doing everything he can. Down to the bottom side, coming out of 3 and 4, coming to the white flag here in the LCQ number 2.
Oh, and the 39 got a better run there. Final lap. Here comes the 39, sending it deep. Trying to get neck and neck with the number 12. A little loose, the number 39 was. And to the strike, the 39 is going to keep her on the bottom. Can they get side by side with Montgomery? Montgomery's going to win the final LCQ. Negus, Cassidy, Hallahan, Carpenter, McDonald will advance to the 333.
Action-packed pair of consies, a bunch of heat races to line up all of our drivers here for the big show in this one. And these drivers going to get a little bit of an opportunity here to get some final practice in. And I believe we'll talk to the big man in charge of the show here. I believe we might be getting just a little bit of an ice cream break as well, but we'll double check. But man, Dylan, this is going to be exciting. Big show here this afternoon.
Oh, yeah, what a run there. A couple of wrecks, but some good clean racing, and we'll see that coming up here with the 3rd annual Jim Hallahan 333. Of course, in memory of our late friend Jim Hallahan, $75 to win, bragging rights for the year. Notice that our 2 defending champions, so there's going to be a new winner of this race, Noel Fougier and John Fitzpatrick, not in this race, so there will be a different winner for the 333.
And as these drivers take to the track here for their final practice, we're going to step away for just a brief moment. Follow along on screen, though. We'll have all the timing and scoring lined up here for the final practice here this afternoon. Green flag coming up shortly right here live on Vidane TV.
All right, the ice cream and coffee break is all done. The drivers have warmed up. I think they're ready to go. Well, that's the big question. Are they ready to go? 333 laps here at Bristol Motor Speedway. It's the Jim Hallahan 333 for the third year in a row. Dylan Langell and Paul Strickland from Vidane TV on the call in the virtual booth. It's pretty neat that we're, probably 10 hours away, and it's like we're sitting together in Bristol Motor Speedway. Paul, this is going to be a good one with Tanton Woolridge and Mike Alexander. Caden, Tufts, and James Pileski there for row number 3. Row 4, Brad Hayes, Matt Barkhouse. Row 5, Cody Olsen, Craig Kenny, followed by Richard Drake and Aiden Christensen for 11th and 12th. So about 28 cars making the field, I believe, or around 24. It looks like Mitch Montgomery, Jake Goodwin, Dave Horton, Scott Negus, along with Tyler Hallahan, Dave Cassidy, Quentin Carpenter, Brody Lewis, Aiden McDonald, Chris Ewing, Marc Lapierre, and Danny Vitch there. And actually, it looks like, we're going to have about 26. So Tyler Hallahan, Cassidy, Carpenter, McKenna, and Craswell. So with 26 cars on the grid, those final positions are provisional spots. So this is it. This is what we've been warming up for all afternoon / morning with those heat races, the LCQs. We saw some wildness towards the end of the first LCQ. LCQ number 2 is a little tame, but the pace lights are off. Pace car is in. The third annual Jim Hallahan 333 is underway with Tanton Woolridge taking the lead on the start. Now, you got to take into account there's going to be for sure some pit stops, some tire changes, fuel load, how much fuel's in the cars already to make that weight differential. We'll see. Strategy will come into play here as lap number 2 will go to Mike Alexander making the move there around Tanton on the inside of Tanton Woolridge to try and snag second early on. It's going to be the one thing to try and traverse with a 27-car field. Dylan Black at the tail end already on the pit, and I don't think Dylan Black answered the call, so about 26 cars here answering the call for the Jim Hallahan 333. So seeing some moving and shaking a little further back here. Good racing so far. Want to keep it clean, don't want to go too crazy here for the start of this 333-lap race. DeWeese throwing big-time pressure now on Tanton Woolridge, pole sitter for this race, and already dropping 2 positions so far. Lots of time, but there's lots of opportunity for something to happen, whether you get bumped into a little bit and it sends you up the track, you kiss the wall, and that'll be pretty much it. Unlike the NASCAR Cup iRacing that took place in 2020. There's no full body restarts, Paul, as far as I understand. You'd got to go into the pits and repair that in real time.
Yeah, and a lot of times that'll happen. You'll get some damage on the race cars. Got my microphone all sorted out. Sorry about that, folks. Got that all sorted out. And in the real time with these, when you don't have the quick repair, so you can see Bolesky taking a peek down low in that 93 car. Three-way battle there for that second position. At the third position, rather. Braxton holding on to it. And as these drivers come down pit road, you can see Quentin Carpenter down there on pit road with a 116 car. Having to repair the damage is really detrimental in trying to get back on the racetrack.
Pretty stacked up after the second position. Mike Alexander and Ryan Messer out by a country mile in front of DeWeese field. There's the 39 and the 90 battling a little further back. And there is Bolesky in fourth right now. Trying to mind everyone's P's and Q's, it looks like, at this rate. The high line seems to be the preferred lane right now for just maybe motoring around. There's Richard Drake now throwing it deep on the inside to try and grab some positions.
And you can see, really, that's the only side-by-side.
Oh,
big time
no,
slide
no,
for the
no,
six.
no.
Hold on to it. Holds on to it. Great driving there for Cody Olsen. Going to drop a couple of spots back. Lose a little bit of momentum. You can see Craig Kenny in the 90 car taking a peek down low now as well. Close there. Close quarters in a big way. But the 6 car, great driving, holds on to it.
Poor Olsen. That's what happens, though. You get a little loose and you start sliding back, and you've got to try and get a stranglehold on that car, or else you're going to be doing the exact same thing, slipping back. Richard Drake made the move. I'm wondering if Olsen maybe closed in, trying to prevent Richard from getting that position, but then just got a little bit of a tap, and you're getting the sticky stuff and up top, all that rubber right to the top of the wall, and your car just completely slides back. But what a save, and we're still green flag racing, knock on wood, on lap 18 to the 333.
Up in front, you can see the 39 car took a peek down low there on Richard Drake's. The 141 going to hold on to the spot for right now as he takes a peek now down low on Hayes in the 7 car. And that's kind of more front-running side-by-side battle. It is the battle for 6th, 7th, 8th, and 9th right in here. Everybody pretty much lined up single file, little conveyor belt action. Everybody chasing. Oh, James Bolesky having some troubles with the bike.
Uh-oh, Bolesky's falling all the way down. An issue for a driver who was
Connection issue, it looked like, for the 4 car.
Okay, so maybe just a bit of a
position.
spike there.
Yeah, got that all sorted out. Timing and scoring, dropped one of the drivers, fell through the time, and came right back into 4th. So everything A-okay for the 93 crew and fans. Apologize for the quick scare, but looking good in that Chrome 93.
It just fell like as if Hans Gruber there was falling on the Die Hard movie.
That's a Christmas movie, isn't it?
That's right.
But everybody chasing down Mike Alexander up in the lead. That lead has shrunk just a bit, 0.2 of a second. Less than that now. Ryan Messer with a great corner all over the back bumper now of Mike Alexander. And we've seen these two guys go back and forth in many of these TCM special events. They've got a long ways to duke it out. Over 300 miles, or 300 laps rather, left to go in this one.
Still lots of time for an issue to happen, or lots of time to save your car, but right now the top 2 are neck and neck with the 75 and the number 1, Ryan Messer and Mike Alexander. Haven't seen Mike race in a couple of years. Been taking time doing the Xander signs, making some cars look great, and of course doing some iRacing. Big family, the Alexander family here in the Maritimes. Ryan Messer, young driver, been pro stock racing for a handful of years, looking to have a great 2023 coming up with some new series, including the new Super Late Model series in the provinces of New Brunswick and Prince Edward Island. So lots of opportunity to race, and here comes some lap traffic. So the first car to go a lap down will come around in front of the leaders here. And will the number 1 use the 8 car as a pick? They tried, and they're going to have to fall back in line with Mike Alexander. So Lapierre will go down a lap here.
And it's going to be interesting to see how these drivers work on that as the race goes down. Different racetracks have different rules as far as lap traffic. I know most places the lap cars should go up high, let the lead lap cars get that preferred line down to the bottom. But at Stafford Speedway, it's a little bit different, where the lap traffic goes down on the bottom side, and the lead lap drivers have to work away around the outside. So It's going to be a little bit different. We've seen different styles here in these TCM events and here on Vidane TV, and I think that's just going to be something these leaders, Alexander and Messer, are going to have to deal with all evening, afternoon long.
Yeah, that's going to be the big thing there. And Bristol, it's a tricky place, like you said, where the outside, that is the lane you want to be on, but drivers will cut it right down low coming out of the turns and get it right there on the bottom sometimes. So the lap cars are going to be in a rock and or you don't want to get in the... But you're also racing your own race, too. You know, you're here, it's your time. There's DeWeese slowly starting to catch up to the top two, Ryan Messer and Mike Alexander. You can see the score ticker with the rest of the field. Maybe your favorite drivers having a decent run or maybe a hard run right now. We're pretty early in this race, about 300 laps to go now in the 333. I know in years past, the first couple goes take a little bit, and speaking of tough goes there, a little bit of a rub on the wall. Saw some smoke fly from there. But the earlier races, Paul, for the 333, I know last year it took a little bit to get going. There was a lot of cautions at the front end of the race. That was Caden Tufts there kissing the wall. So far, so good. I'm knocking on this wood shelf that I have my computer on because we're making great pace right now.
Yeah, picking them up, putting them down, and the lead up in the front, still side by side between the 75 and that one car. Alexander holding on the lead for right now. Ryan Messer attacking down on the bottom side, trying to use the bottom of the racetrack to get that car to turn around, but not quite able to hold on to the position. And you said it earlier here, Dylan, we've got a lot of racing left to go on track, a bunch of pit stops. We assume that these drivers are going to have to come down for tires and fuel throughout this one. So lots of different strategies getting into this one, but a good long green flag run here as we work lap 37.
I know if I'm running at Bristol, I want to be up front. I want that clean air. I don't want to be battling too much with other drivers, trying to get those positions. So Mike Alexander, Ryan Messer, right now are in a good spot, but who knows? We saw in the first race, we saw the 67 at Craswell get in front of the leaders and nearly took them out. So anything can happen, and it usually will because it's auto racing, even on iRacing here. Gillespie running in fourth, Barkhouse in fifth again. Remember, Mike Alexander and their brothers, teammates essentially too in this thing. So they'll have some teamwork potentially if they get close to each other. But by the end, if they're near each other, that brotherly love and teamwork goes out the window.
Yeah, and we've seen those guys race hard against each other on Vidane TV all the time. So it's going to be great to see if those guys can get up into the top five and race it out for the lead. And you can see pretty strung out here up in the top 10 or so. A little bit of a battle here between Negus and Hayes for that top 10 spot, battling back and forth for ninth. Aiden Christensen right there in the 24 car, kind of on the outside of the top 10 looking in. Craig Kenny, great showing in the dirt last night in that 90 car. And you can see Mitchell Montgomery there dropping back just a bit in the 12 car. So easy does it here, working lap 42 as we cross the stripe.
Action all over the racetrack here. The world's fastest half mile, Bristol Motor Speedway, putting on some excellent racing. And Mike Alexander and Ryan Messer, you can see on the score ticker, they're swapping positions. It looked like maybe Messer got the lead for just a moment. There's one of the cars going to get out of the way. Horton down below. 44 laps in. Ryan Messer drag racing with Mike Alexander down to turn 3 and 4. And again with Bristol Motor Speedway, it's not identical straightaways. One's a little shorter than the other, so you got to keep that in mind too, where you're not going to have the same run the entire time. You really got to time that out.
Very similar to Stafford Motor Speedway as well. Back when they turned it from a horse racing track to a race car track, somebody kicked one of the stumps over for the paving crew, and it's 10 feet off or something along those lines there in 3 and 4. But you can see these two leaders pulling away from the field, about almost 2 seconds on back to DeWeese in that third position. And Ryan Messer just doing everything he can to really hold on to the back bumper. And you can see every couple of laps or so, he'll try and jump up and mess with the 75 car. Get him to drive maybe a little bit harder, seeing how hard he can push that 75 before he snaps up in that lead.
Now, one thing to note, too, Pileski, once again, they dropped from fourth down with their internet connection, it looks like. So I'll have to keep an eye on that. If you're lagging much, that's going to give you the boot pretty much. So keep an eye out for that for the driver sitting in fourth right now, as they, again, kind of dropped right down the standings but got back up. Clicking them off here at Bristol Motor Speedway for the Jim Hallahan 333, our third annual, coming up to the 50-lap mark.
Awesome camera angles around this racetrack, brought to you by Track Cams 22. Be sure to check those guys out. Lots of custom different cameras on different racetracks in the iRacing service. So utilizing those here on Vidane TV, be sure to check those guys out. Let them know we sent you. And you can see up front, big-time lap traffic now. We said before this race even got going, lap traffic was going to be an issue, and you can see starting to get a little bit thick up here in the lead.
Getting tick as they say. That will certainly mess with the driver's plans. I know playing any racing game with lapping in there, if you're in second, you think, okay, I could use this as my pinching opportunity to take the lead. But then if you're the leader, you're wondering, okay, where are they going? Are they going to go in the bottom? Because right now, look, Mike Alexander, as now a caution's out on the speedway. That actually is going to save Mike. It looked like he was going to be surrounded by some lap cars, and the spin actually took place in front of the leaders with Cody Olsen.
That's going to give us an opportunity to re-rack, restack the field, give these guys an opportunity to come down, get some tires, get some fuel, maybe get some of the dings and dents worked on with the virtual hammers. We'll back up to U-House Racing Designs instant replay, and a little bit of contact here between the 08 and the 6 car. Dylan Black in that 08 and the 6 car here of Cody Olsen. Side by side, the 6 car up high, gets a little bit loose, holds on to it. But there you can see, kind of going for that same piece of real estate. Almost had it saved, but there's a little bit of a bump from the 13 of Cassidy. Gets that thing pointed in the wrong direction. But man, oh man, there you can see it. Pit road, a busy spot. Looks like everybody's coming down. A handful of drivers are staying out on track.
Taking the opportunity on the early caution on lap 55. Caution laps will count here at Bristol Motor Speedway, so they're going to take advantage of that first caution to change tires, fuel up, get some fresh rubbers, make any adjustments they need to. And it looks like that Negus will be staying in front to take the lead here in the 333, with Kenny going to be staying out too. Oh, never mind. They're going to the pits. They decided to maybe wait it out a little bit here, so we'll get a full lineup here in just a moment.
It looks like Scott Negus stayed out on track again, so he's going to try and stay out, lead himself a couple of laps. It's like the 25 car, Chris Ewing, going to stay out on track, and Mike Alexander, the first car off pit road, it looks like, as everybody else in behind coming back down to kind of top off, take a little bit more fuel, make sure everything is good to go. And once we get the one to go, we'll get the lineup sorted out, get all these cars in the back to the front, front to the back, get ready to rock and roll once again here, working lap number 56.
Getting ready to refire him here. First caution out for a spin, including Olsen, but a majority of the cars are still in it to win it. A couple have already decided to wrap her up there, including Carpenter and Horton. A couple of cars lapped down, including Black and Olsen, Lapierre on pit road too.
Really good shot there, wide angle shot. You can see lots of rubber buildup there on the high side of the racetrack. You can bet that's absolutely going to come into play here as we get further on into this race. You can see the sun starting to set here. A lot of the racetrack starting to get into shade here, especially down in the backstretch coming out of turn number 2. And that's really going to cool down the racing surface. And the big thing is going to be the visibility. You might have a little bit of glare earlier on that these drivers aren't having to deal with now as the sun starts to set.
When the sun goes down, see what happens.
A little bit of an extended caution here to get everything cleaned up and get the cars lined up back on track, ready to rock and roll once again. We got to thank you for tuning in here live all over the internet. We're on YouTube, we're on Facebook, we're on Twitch, and be sure to give us a like, subscribe, a share, all that good stuff. Let your friends and family know you're watching a little iRacing afternoon here at the Tim's Corner Motorsports 3rd Annual Jim Hallahan 333 Showtime. Paul Strickland Jr., Dylan Langell making the call here in the production truck. Exciting morning of racing. Getting these,
who's bursting in the truck?
Very quick moment, guys. The 133 was caught a lap down on the caution flag. He passed the pace car trying to get his lap back. That is not right. He will be serving a black flag on this run.
Huh. There you go.
133 of Aiden McDonald going to restart in the back and up towards the front. Nika's going to take off. That's what he needed. He's on older tires in that 39 car. Looks like he's got himself a little bit of a cushion. Oh, big wreck. That's Pileski, I think.
Big
everybody
wreck.
Else. Huge
Big wreck.
Big bada boom. Trouble in a paradise here. There's a little,
okay. We got bumper cars there. Chris Ewing and
Christensen, I believe they're in the 24 car. They part ways and figure it out, and we'll pull up the U-House Racing Design Instant Replay. There was a lot going on this one. So we'll back up to tape, and we're going to take a peek from the blimp high atop this racetrack, and we're actually going to go right from the start and take a peek at it. Here's the restart. A little bit of calamity up towards the front. Everybody kind of sorts it out. 25 car drifting back there on the bottom of your screen. Now the right-hand side of your screen. There's Pileski in the 93 car up into the outside wall. And, man, just closes it up. Roadblock here up inside the top 10.
I think the big question is who didn't get damage from that position onward. Pileski just threw it a bit too deep in the corner because it didn't look like they had any help. If we can rewind that again, Paul, maybe take a look. Because it didn't look like that he got any help going towards the wall.
And one of the things, too, we made mention, that 93 car struggling with a little bit of internet connection issues earlier on. Could very well have been a factor in this. We'll take another peek at it. Next, we can do that here. Focus in that 93 car up top. Let's see. Little three-wide action there. Brief contact with the 25 car, looks like, as he was getting back up in there.
Yeah, Chris Ewing just cut across the nose.
Yeah, big-time damage there. So still down on pit road. Looks like they're jacking the right side up of that 93 car. Going to throw some tires on it, but it'll lose multiple laps, it looks like. And another opportunity for a couple guys to come down. You see Jake Goodwin on pit road. Wade Craswell coming back off, following the 133. Aiden McDonald stuck a lap down there after that last caution. But Nika's still out there. Old tires. It's going to be fun to watch that restart of that 39.
Oh, yeah. But right before, too, it looked like that Mike Alexander was closing in. They were getting... But then, of course, the caution came out not long after. And there's the bros in second and third right next to each other. Ryan Messer in fourth. Caden Tufts, DeWeese, McKenna, Kenny, Lewis, and Hallahan the top 10.
And you can see as we go through the field here, a little bit more and more sheet metal, some more scuff marks on these cars as we get into this one. Not quite a war of attrition, but these drivers know 333 laps on the docket. Long day of racing on top of the consies, on top of the heat racing, the qualifying, and all the practice we've been running for this very event here this afternoon. So fatigue definitely going to start playing a factor in with some of these drivers. Yes, it is in fact a simulator, but it's 333 laps around a half mile here at Bristol. No short feet. Definitely going to be tough on some of these drivers.
It will. It's on the mind and physically, even in the simulator. Your turns. I know it's not the same as being in a hot car on an August afternoon, but still, wears and tears on you. And even in a video game world, simulator world, when you're seeing, the heart rate can certainly go up too. This is a big race here.
Yeah, nerves definitely going to be on the mind of all these drivers up in the front, pretty much all the way throughout the field here, side by side throughout. Lights off on the pace car, getting ready to rock and roll here once again. That 39 car on the original set of tires he started the race with. Everybody else in behind and around him. 4 fresh tires onto that last pit stop. So we'll focus in on the restart. 39, beautiful jump down in that bottom lane, and it looks like he's going to clear by at least a car or two.
We'll see if we can get a full lap here completed. There goes the number 15 of Barkhouse on the outside. They cross in front of their brother Mike, and they're going to grab the lead here in the 333. Negus falling back a bit on those older tires. The strategy, well, worked out for a couple of laps to lead them. We're not paying lap money here in the 333. $75 to win. And Barkhouse has grabbed the lead. Mike Alexander second. Ryan Messer back. Known. Kenny. It was Kenny, a little loose. Spun by themselves, no caution, all by themselves. That's a tough break there for the number 90 car. Just a little loose out of the turn. And they fall from the top 10 all the way down.
And you can see still clean, still green, still side by side for this lead. Almost 3 wide. How about Messer taking a peek in the center there, trying to get around Barkhouse and Alexander. Still side by side for that lead.
And DeWeese is right there too. in that number 8 car, laying right behind the number 1. And actually, Kenny's going to be coming up in front of the leaders here after he took a little spin and was able to get it back going. Tough break for the number 90 car, Kenny. Here comes the number 1. Hot on the bumper, the number 15 here in the Jim Hallahan 333. It's lap 70. You'd swear it's lap 332 the way the boys are racing here.
About this onboard shot here for Braxton DeWeese in that number 1 car. That's a great battle, a great view of this battle for the lead. 3-4-way battle with a little bit of lap traffic up in front. I believe that's the 90 car. Craig Kenny going to jump down low.
Pulls out of the way.
Pulls out of the way, and that's a 00 car of Tufts getting on down around. But man, oh man, beating and banging up here with these leaders side by side, bumper to bumper. Phenomenal racing as Messer takes a peek down low.
And Ryan Messer trying to take that lead on the inside. 2 by 2 for the top 4. Caden Tufts, the 5th player, as the top 5 have broken away from Negus in the number 39 and backward. Cars are spread out a little bit here. Great battle up in front. Lap 73 to 333. And Matt Barkhouse, who dominated this race last year, I remember, was taken out in a wreck late in the race, is now in front.
And you see Alexander in the 75 car starting to close the gap once again in that 4th position. Caden Tufts in the 00 car holding on to the 5th spot, trying to close that gap just a little bit more. And Negus there in the 39 still holding on in 6th. So still a great move with those older tires. Still has an extra set down on pit road, but not quite able to keep up with these guys out front with those fresh tires.
Gamble not working, but there's still lots of time in this race. Maybe there could be a caution here soon enough. You know, different strokes, different folks. And how about this? DeWeese has moved up to P2, getting around the number 75 of Mike Alexander. Looking to try and get that big win here in the 333. Great gyroscope shot here on the inside of the number 8 car. Getting right behind the Rev Racing number 15 of Matt Barkhouse. All the drivers in the top 5 taking that high lane here. Now DeWeese starts to throw down a bit lower. 15 throws a block out of the turn.
And you can really hear as these drivers get in and out of the corners, in and out of the throttle pretty heavy, having to feather it all the way around. So using the steering wheel to turn these cars, but using the throttle just as much to make sure they control these race cars all the way around the track. Barkhouse holding on to the lead, really bringing these guys around the top side. Top 5 cars lined up in a train, showing that high side's where it's at.
And one thing they got to be careful, you can see it, fans, on the screen when they're in the turns, you can see all the balls of rubber developing at the top of the track. So if that rear tire clipses, now there's going to be a caution on track to slow things down. Another wreck, and it looks like Brody Lewis by themselves.
Going to call for the tow truck and give us an opportunity to pull up that U-House Racing Designs instant replay, find out what went down with that number 22 car to bring out that caution. And looks like you got a little up close and personal with that inside safer barrier. We focus in on the 22 car. Really looking A-okay. You see the 24 right up in front. So a little bit up into those marbles you were talking about just a moment ago, Dylan. Gets a quick little scuff. Everything looks good there. And there it is, coming back down in front of that black car there. And there you can see caution flag flies once again. So 22 car pointed in the wrong direction here on lap number 82.
So 3rd caution, the 333, and that'll slow the field down and re-rack them and stack them here. Megas there from West Chezzetcook here in Nova Scotia.
Yeah, coming down, getting some tires for the first time here. So watch that 39 car. Interesting to see. Going to be one of the only cars on a different strategy, as most of these drivers came down 2 caution flags ago. We'll take a peek at 27, 28 laps ago that these drivers are going to be dealing with on those tires. So that's going to be something to watch as the 29 car restarts, or check that, the 39 car restarts towards the pack.
And that's the fun thing about racing. We'll see how it plays out. You know, we could have a lot more cautions. I doubt it, but this could be the last one. But it's Bristol Motor Speedway, tight conditions, not a lot of room to avoid disaster if something goes up. We shall see as the field paces around, and they're getting the field all set to go here shortly.
Giving the track officials a quick lap here to make sure everything's ready to go. Make sure the track racing service is A-OK and giving these drivers an opportunity to grab a quick sip of the drink and make sure everything's good to go in the virtual cockpits of these race cars. Taking a good little tribute paint scheme there to Ken Block in that 15 car. Pretty cool to see. It's tough losing Ken Block just a few weeks ago, but it's great to see the racing community in the real world and the sim racing community kind of recognizing and throwing it back to the 43 of Ken Block.
Yeah, a lot of racing heroes have unfortunately passed away recently, including Ken Block and Robbie Knievel, more stunt variety, but passing away a few weeks ago. And getting ready to refire him here as the pace car pulls off. Matt Barcos and DeWeese fly back in.
Beautiful restart there from the 15 car of Barkhouse, but you can see DeWeese doing everything he can to hold on to the bottom side of the racetrack. Little side-by-side in behind. Ryan Messer, Mike Alexander going side-by-side for that third spot.
Caden Tufts running in fifth, and look who's up to P6 now as we have a couple of cars spin on the backstretch. We're still green flag racing, usually for a single car incident. And we're not done crashing. Actually, that may have by the looks of things.
And Braxton DeWeese finding a quick introduction with that outside wall. We're going to back that up on the U-House Racing Designs instant replay. Mayhem all the way around the racetrack, and we're not even a third of the way done.
Cautions breed cautions.
Indeed, it does, and we're going to focus in on the second place driver. It's going to be the number 8 car of DeWeese, and you can see going for the lead, trying to get up to that 15 car. Ryan Messer there in behind, and there you see just gets a piece of that outside wall, kind of sticks on it. Everybody does a good job getting slowed and woed up. Doesn't get run over here. That could have been a whole lot worse than it was.
Oh, big time. Very much so. So another caution out. Tough break for DeWeese, who is running second in this race after kissing the wall and getting up in the air from Miamisburg, Ohio. Braxton DeWeese.
Going to come down to the attention of the virtual crew and get some damage repaired. And Matthew Barkhouse still holding on to the lead. Ryan Messer in second. Mike Alexander, Richard Drake, and Caden Tufts up in the top 5. How about Chris McKenna and the 35 car? 20 spots gained from where they qualified there in 6th. Tyler Hallahan having a solid run up in the top 10, running in 7th. Jake Goodwin, Tant Woolridge, and Mitchell Montgomery in the 12 car, rounding out the top 10.
So things are starting to settle down here at the Bristol Motor Speedway after the 4th caution, all relatively close together. We had a good green flag stretch, and this is usually the point of the race. It happens in any series, Paul, where just you get that one caution, or then it just takes a couple more to fully get going once again.
Yeah, drivers losing focus here early on in this one. We ran about 55 laps or so under green in that first green flag run, so definitely going to see more of that here as the race gets further and further on. We made mention, not really a war of attrition. We aren't seeing very many bad incidents on track. Definitely a little bit of virtual sheet metal getting bent up as we're beating and banging all the way around this half mile. But, man, the racing has been phenomenal throughout the heat races, throughout the consies, and here in the big show, the feature event of the afternoon. And we're lined up 2 by 2 once again. Messer Barkhouse going to be the front row. Drake Alexander right in behind. McKenna and Tufts restarting in that 3rd row. The lights are off in the iRacing pace car. Getting ready to rock and roll once again here, Dillan.
Getting ready to get going again here at the virtual Bristol Motor Speedway, the Jim Hallahan 333. Getting ready to restart here on lap 90. Pace lights are off. We'll see if we can get a rhythm here, as old Johnny Cash used to say. Green flag is back in the air.
Beautiful restart by both drivers up in the front. Ryan Messer going to try and hold on to that top side. Not quite there. Just kidding. Back up. Gets a great run out of the corner. You can see on entry the 15 has it, but look at the massive run the 1 car Messer gets up on that high side. I think it's going to be a long afternoon of these drivers trying to figure out which line is going to be preferred, but for right now, it looks like the high side is coming in.
And I'm noticing, too, there's a lot of the high side that's in shade on one side of the track there on the backstretch. That's going to give even more grip to those drivers as Barkhouse again woes up just a little bit. Now here comes the brother, Mike Alexander, looking, or at least was looking for a moment on the inside. Richard Drake up to P4 now. Rational Richards great at showing up there at the end of the race, and not even at the third of the way through, Mark. Richard Drake is now in the top 5.
Top 5 drivers pretty much single file. You can see the 24 and the 35. Goodwin and McKenna going back and forth for that 6th position. Mitch and Montgomery right there, and the 12 car as well. You can see Caden Woolridge, Tyler Hallahan. They've got a great battle, great sight of this battle right up in front of him. Christensen in the 24 car there as well. There's Negus in the 39 car, slowly, methodically working his way back up through the field. Remember, on a different pit sequence, easy enough for me to say. That 39 car, a little bit fresher tires under that machine.
Oh, he's just mowing through the competition right now. You can see those fresh rubbers making good work there early on for the number 39 car. We'll keep an eye on him, keep an eye on the ticker there as they're looking to enter the top 10. Here comes Richard Drake and the 15 all battling as Ryan Messer is pulled out and has a 3/4 of a second lead in front of second, third, and fourth. Ryan Messer looking to storm away with the 3:33 this afternoon. They're pulling away from the brothers, running right there in second and third with Richard Drake hot on the heels in fourth and Caden Tufts in fifth.
Messer looking in his rearview mirror, liking what he sees. These drivers battling it out, second, third, fourth, and fifth, right up in with each other. And you can see a little bit of a clean racetrack out in front of Messer, crossing the stripe for lap 100. Just about 1/3 of the distance way through here. We're almost 33 and a third percent chance done with winning the race.
Paul, the numbers don't lie, and they spell disaster for you at Sacrifice.
110%.
141% and 2/3.
3/3 and a third percent chance of winning the championship at Sacrifice.
Paul, would you rather be with me or would you rather be with Joe?
Well, which Joe? There's a couple of them.
Smo Joe.
I don't know. That'd be an interesting matchup.
Yeah, probably. Good matchup here between Caden Tufts and Richard Drake, as now Caden Tufts will use the outside line to get P4 from Rational Richard, so the Rash will have to go back to P5 for just a moment here.
And you can see as these guys get around the racetrack, 1 second lead now for Messer over Alexander, really starting to pull away. And you can see getting into that lap traffic once again. There's that 7 car of Brad Hayes, the last car on the lead lap there in 17th. So he's going to go down to the bottom side of the racetrack. And a lot of these leaders kind of preferring that higher line. So I think that's going to be what we'll be seeing throughout the rest of the night.
Ryan Messer was able to make quick work of that lap car, and they've got a half straightaway lead in front of Mike Alexander and Barkhouse at the moment. Oh, problem for the number 35 of McKenna. They're going to spin. That's going to trigger the caution.
Yeah, quick reaction there for the 35 car, getting that thing back into gear and rolling once again. Caution flag flies for the 5th time here on a lap 107. We'll back up to U-House Racing Designs instant replay, and a little bit of contact, it looks like, between that 35 car and the 24. Focusing on that. Goodwin up in the high side. McKenna down at the bottom. The 24 scuffs the wall just a little bit. Kind of rejoins the racing surface, and the 35 car was there. Big hit for the 24, big hit for the 35 as well, and you can see didn't even really stop. Definitely slowed the 35 car down, but didn't quite stop. Gonna have to come down pit road though and get some of the damage work done.
Got some damage on the car.
This is big. Richard Drake giving up a top 5 to come down, get some tires put on that 141 machine. We saw that 39 car kind of taking advantage of those fresh tires. He's up in 6th right now, so this might be something to watch. 141, the 8 car down on pit road as well.
So some drivers taking some different strategy here in the 333, still under the halfway mark by quite a bit here at Bristol Motor Speedway. Cars taking some different strategy like we saw a little earlier on, including with Negus there and the number 39. They're up to P6 now after taking that early pit stop or the later pit stop, I should say, compared to the rest of the field.
We're seeing a couple of these guys towards the back of the pack. The 24, a Goodwin, 7, a Hayes, Marc Lapierre, and the 8, McKenna, and the 35. All those guys have damage, but they're coming back down on pit road to work on a little bit more of that damage and maybe top off the fuel tank in this one. Got to remember, we got a long way to go in this. Still multiple pit stops throughout the afternoon, so might be an opportunity to maybe throw a little monkey wrench into this strategy here if you don't quite have the car that's up to snuff.
Do you think the crowd's on the edge of their seat right now here at Bristol?
Absolutely. Just getting right up to lap 111 here. 1/3 the distance. 2/3 to go here. Anything can happen. Man, with the excitement we've seen on track already, anything really can happen in the main event here.
Mm-hmm. That's for sure. So it's 1:10 of 3:33. Big lap count still left to go. As the field starts to fall into place.
Looking like lights off on that iRacing. Nope, they're back on. So we're a little bit of an extended caution here. Getting the timing and scoring call back up. Making sure everybody's in the right position. Referee, race officials, making sure everybody's lined up and going to do battle here for the second and third thirds of the second, 33rd and the 3rd% of the race. That's hard to even do a parody of.
Yeah.
Tough. Very tough. Ryan Messer going to restart down on the bottom. Alexander up on the top. Markhouse, Tufts, and Woolridge, the top 5. This is going to be good. Lined up 2x2. iRacing pace car getting ready to take that hard left-hand turn down to the safety of pit road. And there's a massive restart for Messer. Goes as quickly as he can. He's going to have at least 3-4 car lengths. They get him at 1.
What a restart there from Ryan Messer on the hop. Gets away lap 112 of the 3:33 here at Bristol Motor Speedway with Vidane TV and Tim's Corner. Getting ready for a big 2023 season. Lots of broadcast. A lot of drivers taking time this winter to really wrench on the cars, come up with new concepts for their paint schemes, looking for new sponsors, looking to get those returning sponsors, and planning out where they're going to be traveling to for the upcoming season. And this afternoon, a handful of drivers taking the time to do the 3:33 here this afternoon. There is Pileski and Rational Richard further back, so Richard took advantage of that caution to make a pit stop and make some adjustments on that car.
And you can see really hugging the bottom of the racetrack in the 141 all the way back up to 8. So it looks like he's actually gotten around Negus in the 39 with those fresher tires on the 141 Laker ride. And you can see he takes a quick opportunity to get around Kenny, already setting his sights. So the 141 really methodically working his way back up into the top 5, getting around Tan Woolridge now in the 0 car, setting his sights on Tufts in the top 5.
And Richard is really good on the bottom. All the positions he's gained so far, he's kept that 141 Laker News kinetic car on the bottom, and it's working, paying off wonders as Richard Drake is now back in the top 5 and looking to get in the top 3. He'll get that position.
Onboard action, a little Sunday afternoon drive there for the 141, sliding into the 3rd position, now setting his sights on these top 2 drivers. And I think as this run goes on, it's going to be a matter of time before the 141's able to hold on. You can see going to take a peek down low on Alexander, already setting up the move, just really making that race car stick to the bottom of the track.
Man, that car is on rails. It's absolutely holding steady in the middle line, and he's able to get easily around the number 75 of Mike Alexander. Now looking, lines up in the high line behind the number 1, but look at the run. He's just so much faster on the straightaway. Rational Richard Drake will now take the lead from the number 1, Ryan. He makes quick work of the number 1 car. New leader in the 3:33. Ryan Messer will fall to second. Caution now as soon as someone wrecked on the front stretch.
Looks like Chris Ewing finding himself pointed in the wrong direction there on the back straightaway. One of the straightaways there. Grabs the gear and gets going once again. And going to be interesting to see the pit strategy here at this point. Richard Drake just taking over the lead, driving his way up into the lead with those fresher tires. And Definitely going to see a lot of cars on the lead lap come down pit road. As a matter of fact, it looks like everybody except for Richard Drake coming down. And as we take a peek after replay, there you can see the contact with the 25 car. I'll back that up one more time because I don't quite have as quick a finger as I thought I did. Little contact there between the 93 and the 25.
Just booted.
It's a big shot there.
Oh, it's a big shot. Bam.
Yeah, just flat dumped him. Turned him on around, but back up front, Richard Drake staying out on track. Has about 15 laps on those tires. Everybody else going to stay or come down pit road, rather. Nope, just kidding. A couple of drivers staying out as well. Matthew Barkhouse, Wade Craswell staying out on those tires. But it looks like DeWeese and everybody else in behind them going to come down and get some service to their race cars. And this is going to be interesting. We saw just how good those fresh tires were for Drake, but as quickly as that caution flag came out, didn't really have the opportunity to kind of utilize and put a lot of distance in between he and the second place drivers.
So again, slowed up a little bit because of another 333 lap 50. Around that 50 mark, 6 cautions that have slowed the pace of the race down like molasses here at the moment. Tim?
We have parked the 93 for an intentional wreck on the 25. We saw that coming. We hoped it wouldn't have happened, but it actually did. We actually, Paul, you'll appreciate this. We took the in-game voice chat from the whole session to remind them that we still have a bunch of laps to go, and intentional wrecking is not welcome here. We also disabled the chat of the 25 after the little spar that they had under yellow. So hopefully everybody can mind their P's and Q's and get some green flag laps in here. We also reminded them after our race at Oxford that if you are multiple laps down, that you should not be interfering with the race itself, which is what just happened there between those two race cars. So Dillan, Paul, hopefully we can give you some green flag laps. And for those that are watching, thanks for being a part of it. Hopefully we can get some green flag laps in here now.
Thank you, Tim. Yeah, so there you go. The commish, the referee not taking any business here.
Dropping the hammer in a big way. 141 to Richard Drake going to choose that bottom side for the restart. Everybody in and around him has a little bit fresher tires after this caution flag. Barkhouse in the 15 going to restart up in the second spot. Messer and Tufts going to be in that second row. Craig Kenny in the 90 car moving up into the top 3 rows, and Alexander in the 75 going to restart there in 5th. Lights off in the iRacing pace car. Going to make that left-hand turn down to the safety of pit road, and we've got ourselves a race. 15 cars on the lead lap. Green flag flies, and Richard Drake gets a jump.
Good jump there from Rational Richard. We'll see again if we can get green laps under our belt here. It's been a tough go since that about lap 50 mark here at Bristol Motor Speedway.
Through some of the onboard cameras between our leaders here. Ryan Besser with a great shot down below. Ooh, big caution, big wreck it looks like. Lots of cars lined up.
Oh boy. Oh boy.
Oh boy, indeed. We'll get that momentum figured out here once we get back to a little green flag racing here. But in the meantime, I'm going to take a peek again from the blimp here. The U-House Racing Designs Instant Replay. A couple of cars on their lids, it looks like.
On their lids?
Up on their lids. On the facing the wrong way. Focus in here. Looks like the 22 got a piece of the action. At least had a good viewpoint of it as we look alongside here with the U-House Racing blimp. There you can see a little shot there. And 39 Anigas. 35 is upside down. Kind of blocking the entire racetrack there. So tough break for a lot of these drivers.
Yeah, I think we're jinxing it, Paul, saying we're hoping to get green flag laps.
Yeah, and mentioned a couple times already, cautions breeding cautions here, but a little bit of a war of attrition here at this point. It's more, here you can see the 39 car just kind of losing the back end, gets into the 35, and there's that roadblock that ensues. But the more cars we get damaged here, the less cars that are going to be out on track as we get further and further into this one.
So again, we'll have to figure out the running order after that big pile up there. 7th caution, the 130, the 333. We're near the 133 mark, so once we restart, we'll be a little under 200 laps to go here.
And there you can see lining them up 2 by 2 once again. iRacing pace car shutting the lights off, and you can bet race officials loud on the horn for the drivers chat channel. We go out of our way to make sure we don't have the mic keyed up with that driver's chat for a good reason. A little bit colorful language exchanges here, but everybody going to get over it. We're going to get back to some green flag racing here at Bristol Motor Speedway, the 3rd annual Jim Hallahan 333, put on by Tim's Corner Motorsports. And there goes the pace car. It's going to grab another corn dog and a Coke, and there's that great restart from the 141. He's going to clear the 15 as they go into 1 and 2.
Good run there from the Richard Drake car. Single file for all the top drivers there. It looks like right till about Tanton Woolridge and Aiden Christensen. So some of the young guns making their name known here this afternoon at the 333. How about Craig Kenny back in the top 10 after spinning earlier in the race? They're back in the top 10 and still 200 laps to go now. 199 left to go in the 333. Lots of time for something to happen where it could fall in their favor. Right now it's Richard Drake winning this race.
Has himself a bit of a gap there onto this battle for second. You can see beating and banging between Tufts and Messer, the 1 and the 00, the 15 car in the mix with his brother, the 75. And these guys all tied right up in with each other. Tanton Woolridge has a great viewpoint, as does Aiden Christensen. They're in the 24 car, check that. And you can see as this race gets on, as they get a little bit more heat into these tires, really starting to bunch the drivers back up. And they're still closing in on the leader. You can see Richard Drake losing just a little bit of that advantage each and every lap.
Yeah, it's also that the nerves too, I'm sure, racing side by side here in the turns of Bristol Motor Speedway. Mike Alexander on the inside of their brother Matt, and now Caden Tufts is looking to hound on the number 1 Drake, a new leader in the 333. Alexander and Barkos, 2 of the better iRacers in our neck of the woods. And again, no defending champions to this here this afternoon, so there will be a new 3. Caden Tufts, Bandolero legend driver. Oh, they hooked the wall and they were riding up. They lifted the front end of the car. They're still driving straight. New leader now for sure. It's the 00 of Caden Tufts, and Richard Drake is going to fall from 1st to 4th potentially in 2 laps.
Yeah, you can see Ryan Messer down on the bottom side trying to take advantage of that hiccup from the 141 car, and that's going to take a couple of laps to really mentally recover for Richard Drake. You get up into the outside wall, you make a mistake, you lose that time, and then you start to focus on it. What can I do to do better? What can I do? And all the while, there's still a race going on, so having to make a lot of split-second decisions here. Dropping back to the 4th for the time being, and you can see has himself a fight coming in that rearview mirror.
And great car control from Richard Drake as well to hang on and not turn down and cause a bigger wreck. That could have been huge. Great car control there from Richard Drake. Maybe we're seeing out Mike Alexander now trying to take the Caden Tufts. We see the 2-wide battle between Barkhouse and Tanton Woolridge, but Caden Tufts getting big pressure now from Mike Alexander for 1st, and Ryan Messer sitting right there in 3rd as well.
You can see 3 distinct contact between Messer and the 15. That's definitely going to bring out the caution flag. Christensen involved as well in the 24. The 8 gets a piece of the action. There's a good shot of the damage there on the left front for Craig Kenny in the 90 car. Caution flag at number 8 here at work in lap 145.
Oh no. I think maybe Craig Kenny may have made some contact there. By the looks of things, we're going to bring it up here on the replay, but Matt Barkhouse, one of the drivers who was leading early and tangled up in that wreck. Here's the replay.
High atop the racetrack in the YRD blimp, focusing on that 90 car. You can see the center of your screen. There's a little contact with the wall, slows the 15 up. 90 car gets in there, couple of 3 cars going for that same piece of real estate. And you can see big hit there for the 24 car, sending him upside down, and looks like he got him stuck on the side there for the 24.
Just Not what you wanted to see here at the 333. A top competitor, surely not on purpose taken out, but just a racing deal. So that will shake things up. Caden Tufts is still the leader. Mike Alexander, Ryan Drake, Tanton Woolridge, the top 5.
And all these drivers lining up single file here behind the pace car, getting an opportunity to maybe potentially come down pit road, get some of the dings and dents worked on the virtual sheet metal, maybe get some tires, top off the fuel tank. But it looks like for the most part, everybody's staying out on track. Matthew Barkow is going to come down in the 15 car and top that thing off. We'll see if he takes tires. Mitchell Montgomery in the 12 going to come down from about the 12th position. And there you can see Jack on the right side up of the 15. So we'll watch Barkhouse with fresh tires here as we take the restart on lap about 150 once we get going.
I'm grabbing a coffee.
It's gonna be a long afternoon.
I'm going to get another coffee. I'll be right back.
Not a bad idea. We'll get things lined up and sorted out here. 147 in the books and getting close to that halfway marker in this one. Another caution flag here. A couple of car incident, but still great entertaining racing throughout the afternoon. Heat races, consolation races, and now the big show, the third annual Jim Hallahan 333 here from Tim's Corner Motorsports. And again, we want to thank everybody for tuning in live to Vidane TV, on YouTube, on Facebook, on Twitch, all over the internet here, doing a little super late model action here. You can see the 00 of Tufts up front, Alexander, Messer, Drake, and Woolridge, the top 5 as they run. Still getting things sorted out here with timing and scoring and making sure all these drivers are ready to rock and or roll when we take the restart.
Yeah.
Back from the coffee break just in time. Lined up 2x2, lights off in the iRacing pace car. Getting ready to go racing once again. And there you see the double aught down on the bottom side, the 75 up top. It's going to be a great restart here. And Rational Richard Drake in the 141 all the way back up to 4th. This is going to be good.
Here we go, restart. Caden Tufts gets the green flag, and he'll get a dynamite restart in front of Mike Alexander. Ryan Messer trying to replicate the same thing, side by side with Mike Alexander for 2nd and 3rd. And how about this? There's Tanton Woolridge running in P5 at the moment. You can see some of the other drivers through the field too. Matt Barkow still holding position with a lot of damage, but still in the top 10.
You can see that 15 car underpowered just a little bit. Everybody else is up on the high side of the racetrack. He doesn't have to let off as much. It seems like he's down on power, so he's really able to use that bottom side of the racetrack. And he's got those fresh tires coming down under that last pit stop here. So focus on that 15 car, moving his way up towards the front.
Yeah, unfortunately, the caution. Oh, and we got a spin. That's McKenna spinning in front of the leaders, but it looks like we're going to keep green flag racing here. We're just going to say, the caution involving the 15, yeah, it took them out, but now they're just staying in the same territory as the leaders, and actually, they're really closing in now.
Yeah, in that 4th position, you can really see, we saw this earlier with the 141 on fresher tires. 35 gets it all sorted out, but really able to utilize the bottom side of the racetrack in that 15 car. There you can see a good shot of the damage there on the right front quarter panel. Actually left front too, as that shot goes by. So a little bit of damage, but those 4 Mr. Feelgoods on the bottom of that race car are going to slide Barkhouse up into the 3rd position.
And those can make all the difference in the world as Matt Barkhouse back at the P3 after being tangled up in that wreck a little earlier on. Now they're looking on the inside of Mike Alexander. And at the same spear, looking to grab the lead from Caden Tufts. Caden's going to have to go on the defense here with that number 15. Very similar to Rational Richard Drake. The short-term gain is huge when you make those tire changes.
And this is going to be interesting to see. This is about the time that the caution flag came out the last time by. We saw with Richard Drake drive all the way up into the field, take over the lead with those fresher tires. Seeing Barkhouse do that with ease in that 15 car. You can see lots of damage on the front end of that race car. But lap 160 going to be the point in time when the 15 car took over the lead, and he's going to have an opportunity, it looks like, to maybe put a little bit of distance between him and zero.
And do you notice, too, Paul, the cloud coverage has really started to come across the tracks, and now the track's going to be getting racier, a lot faster with the cooler track. We're going to be seeing faster lap times here as we're closing in on the halfway point.
One of the cool things with the iRacing simulator is, in fact, the dynamic weather, the dynamic racing surface. That means it all changes. You aren't going to be on the same surface. You may not even be at the same racetrack after the end of 333 laps here at Bristol Motor Speedway. And it's great that the iRacing service is able to kind of change the track surface and change the air temp and the cloud cover. All the things that are going to be a factor in the handling of these race cars as we get on down around this track. Working lap 162, getting close to that halfway marker.
On the 166 mark will be official for the halfway point for the race. Caden Tufts not giving up, though, Paul, pardon me. Mike Alexander sitting. I wish Mike James was bailed on us, but Paul, you can see the 00 is still staying within arm's length of the 15. Maybe Matt's also maybe conserving those tires a little bit. He got to where he needed to be, but now you don't want to get out too far and wear and tear those new tires.
And McDonald in the 133 car finding some issues on track, coming down and leaving pit road there. Going to go another multiple laps down in the 133. But up front, these front five drivers really holding on to each other's back bumper. You can see Tanner Wolford sliding back just a little bit. That's going to bring the caution flag out. Take a peek. The 8 car appears to be involved.
Just a hair before halfway.
Just a wee little bit. We'll back up to U-House Racing Designs Instant Replay. And once again, as we get kind of stretched out here in these long runs, it kind of takes a moment to really find what the issue was around the track. And that's the beauty of the internet and the beauty of the iRacing services. We can kind of sift through all of these tapes here and find that the 35 of Chris McKenna found himself in the wrong direction and got a couple of taps there. Looks like a little side-by-side action between the 35 and the 6.
So that'll bring us to a slowdown once again. Oh, just nowhere to go for some of the drivers there. Oh, boy. Oh, big hit.
Big hit for Hayes in the 7. Another big hit for Craig Kenny in the 90. And going to be able to grab a gear, but lots of damage on the 35 car as well. Multiple laps down in that ride. Wade Craswell going to be one of the first drivers to come down pit road. Stanton Woldridge, Braxton DeWeese, Richard Drake, Caden Tufts, Tyler Hallahan all down on pit road with lead lap cars. Everybody else staying out on track. You see Barkhouse up there, Mike Alexander in second, Ryan Messer, Scott Negus, and Craig Kenny going to be the top 5 as they run.
So we'll see who gets the advantage on this upcoming 333, 9 cautions. We've made it to the halfway point so far, though, which is good. Because, Paul, you know Dillan needs to have some dinner before I announce some hockey later tonight.
Oh, 100%. Don't have any hockey games to get to, but 2 big football games coming up this afternoon. The Bills Mafia, we're unfortunately out once again. But
who you got?
I don't even know at this point, man. It'd be who's even in it? I think we might have to. The Eagles. I like the center, the fire from the center after they won a couple of years ago. You know, really got up there and showed the big guys can still do big things. So, yeah, kind of pulling for the Eagles a little bit. My boy Ronnie's a big Bengals fan. They beat the Bills. I might pull for the Bengals a little bit. I don't know. It's a tough call. I think I'm just going to be in it for the snacks and the commercials.
I think a Bengals-Eagles Super Bowl will be fun.
Yeah, it'd be a little game of cat and, well, eagle, I guess.
Yes. Who would win in a fight, an eagle or a tiger?
Man, I don't know. Eagles can fly, but tigers are tigers, so...
Yeah. And who would win in a fight between the Chiefs and 49ers?
Another good question. One of these days, we might very well find the answer here on Vidane TV. We'll see if we can get some Madden hooked up or something.
Oh, boy.
Do a little fantasy football commentary.
Oh, that's what we need, eh? My heavens. Yep, football season coming to a close here. Hockey still on. I announced for the South Shore Lumberjacks play Yarmouth tonight, so hopefully that'll be a good game. And things with the Rath Eastlink Community Center in Truro, the home of the Truro Bearcats, beat on Wednesday night. Not gonna boast too much about it, but pretty cool, eh?
Yeah, not too bad at all. That's one of the things I still have to check out live is a hockey game. A hockey game in Canada is on the top of the list as well.
What do you mean, bro? I'm going to Portland to see the Maine Mariners March break.
That might have to happen. Portland's not too far here, and I actually do have to make a trip up to Maine. So we might have to talk after the show. How about this? Speaking of shows, though, look at that cloud cover moving on in. It's getting dark here at Bristol Motor Speedway, and the action's heating up. 3-car breakaway. Barkhouse, Alexander, and Messer pulling away.
Oh, yeah. Just making the track all kinds of different here. So the boys are up in front. Barkhouse and Alexander with Ryan Messer chomping at their heels. Caden Tufts has fallen back to 5th. Mitch Montgomery from the island sitting in P4 right now at lap 173 to 333.
And you can see a little bit of conveyor belt action going on just a little bit. Tant Woolridge taking a peek down low, trying to get down and around, and does. Sets his sight now on the back bumper of the double lock. Caden Tufts right in behind that Ryan Messer machine. You can see these guys really starting to burn the candle at both ends. Everybody up on the high side getting around this track.
Making it work pretty good here. There's Caden Tufts throwing it deep down the inside of Ryan Messer and Tanton following their top tracks. Young guns against, well, not the old guard of Mike Alexander, but Matt Barkhouse, Ryan Messer, Richard Drake. So great field of top 6 competitors right there, all close together. You'd swear it's almost Daytona or Talladega the way they're running right now.
And you can see the shadows on the surface of the racetrack. The sun's starting to come back out here in iRacing, throwing a monkey wrench in with that dynamic weather. This is all changing while the drivers are inside that car. It's tough to plan for what's going on around you, especially when the weather's changing focus here. And you can see as it gets tighter on the racetrack, some of these drivers get up towards the front just a little bit. They race a little bit harder. So as they focus on the race car, on the racetrack, everybody else and around them, the weather are going to be focusing a big focal point here throughout the afternoon.
And just with that dynamic weather, it looks like maybe Caden Tufts runs better in the Barkhouse is running better in the cold and the coolness of the cloud-covered racetrack. And Tanton Woolridge, the pole sitter of this race, is now back at P2. They fell back pretty early on in this race, but well over the halfway point now, they're in this picture.
And how about the Rash 141 of Richard Drake moving on around Barkhouse to get into the 3rd position. Caution flag, though, flies here. Looks like DeWeese still pointed in the right direction. So we'll have to go through the tapes and find out what went down.
Take a little peek ski.
Little bit of a look-see here on the U-House Racing Design Instant Replay. And it's the beauty of the internet, folks. We can rewind the tapes as we see fit and find out what went down to bring out that caution flag once again here. And looking like a big hit for the 6 car. Smoke out of the back of the 6 as he gets around the racetrack here. And that might have actually been the incident in itself. The 6 car puffing out of smoke and may have brought out the caution flag here. You can see everything looks good. And there you see it. Black smoke coming out of the back of the 6 car. So engine failure. One of the things we're going to have to deal with here in iRacing.
Oh boy, oh boy. Boy, oh boy, indeed.
And there you can see everybody lining up behind that pace car. A couple drivers coming down. Mitchell Montgomery, Scott Negus going to get some service, but everybody else staying out on track. You see the 8 car going to get a wave around. That's going to put Marc Lapierre back on the lead lap, joining the 12 other cars on the lead lap here at this point in the race. Working lap 183 here of 333 on the docket.
Tree.
Tree.
So again, a little bit of a slower pace. We're getting close to Near 100 laps to go in the 333. Caution laps are counting. Thanks again for watching here, spending your Sunday afternoon with us. Dylan Angel, Paul Strickland. You know, next weekend it's going to be watching the Cup cars at the Coliseum in LA once again. It was year. Now they know what they're kind of doing, what it's like. And lots of great racing. If you have Flow, no matter the streaming service, Speed Sport, there's always something to watch, it seems. I was watching some of the Rolex 24 Daytona yesterday, actually, too.
Yeah, big 24-hour race. I think that's still ongoing.
I think it just wrapped up.
Just wrapped up, yeah. It was cool to see last weekend, the iRacing 24-hour race. A lot of teams associated with Vidane TV coming home victorious in their splits. The NEP drivers came home with the victory. Full Throttle Sim Racing jumping on with a victory as well. Shout out to those guys. Last time I hooked up with those guys in a 24-hour race, well, we got banned 20 minutes in it because I was driving. So congratulations to all those guys, all the winners in the iRacing 24-hour race. And we hope this race isn't going to take 24 hours, but man, we're having fun calling the action here as we get ready to restart.
Getting ready to fire up again in lap 185, the Jim Hallahan 333. I'm sure with all the cautions, Jim would have something to say for sure if he was still with us. Green flag is back in the air. Caden Tufts, dynamite restart, pulling out in front of Tam Woolridge.
You can see Richard Drake making a fight out of that third position, heading on down low. We've seen him use the bottom of the racetrack all afternoon long, very quick around the shortest way around the racetrack, and you can see those side-by-side action up in the lead. The 00 Tufts going to hold on to it, but man, huge attack there from Tam Woolridge in second.
10's got to be careful, though, not to go too crazy. You know, there's also the incident points too, Paul. I'm not sure what the cap is today, but every time you hit someone, that builds up, right?
Yeah, not sure what that cap is, but we might get close to it here for some of the drivers. Caution flag flies once again. And again, doesn't look like it was a massive incident, but a little bit of crinkle action there for the 35. So we'll take a peek at the tapes and find out what went down.
Another incident for the 35 car this afternoon.
Allegedly. Looks like the 35 car may very well have been on pit road when that happened. So, taking a peek at the tapes. Tapes have gone way too far back.
Roll the tape.
Let's see. 39 car, a little out of shape. It looks like it's going to be Scott Negus. Oh, that's coming to the caution. So in any sense, the 39 car down on pit road as we work at lap 190 here under caution 11 times here so far in this one. Tufts still out front. Woolridge there in second. Richard Drake, Mike Alexander, Tyler Hallahan going to be the top five as they run. A couple of drivers coming down pit road. Looks like Ryan Messer on back. Braxton DeWeese, Matthew Barkhouse, and Scott Negus going to be the lead lap drivers coming off of pit road with fresher tires once again.
Fresh rubber indeed. So the single file as they all start to parade around and they're getting fire here. Said that a couple of times here this afternoon, getting ready to refire.
Little bit of a war of attrition here at Bristol Motor Speedway, to be expected in the sim racing world. These short track racers wanting to perform well here under the lights, under the pressure here, the big show this Sunday afternoon. Tim's Corner Motorsports third annual Jim Hallahan 333, and gonna be fun to see the two-time or the two defending champions of this event not in the field here. So we're gonna have ourselves a new winner to kind of etch in it to the history books, and we're going to get this restart here. Tufts down on the bottom, Woolridge up high, Drake, Alexander, Hallahan up into the top five.
Pace lights are off, so again, they'll parade around and pull right to the inside next time we go around the front stretch here at Bristol Motor Speedway. Tanton Woolridge on the outside of Caden Tufts, Richard Drake, Mike Alexander, Mitch Montgomery. Tyler Hallahan's been keeping it clean. He's running in sixth right now, or fifth, so we'll see how he shakes out here in the late stages of this race. Green flag back in the air.
Beautiful restart by Tufts. Wooldridge gets away there and second. Richard Drake still holding on to that third position on the bottom of the racetrack. Focusing on that 141 throughout the rest of the afternoon. On the bottom side, you can see Mike Alexander holding tough on the high side, but man, that 141 is good at the bottom.
Some good as he looks to try and take away P3 from Mike Alexander, Montgomery, Hallahan, Barkhouse, Lapierre, and Messer. Your top 10 here in the late stages of the 333. About 238 laps to go in this race. Or 138 laps to go, pardon me. My heavens, we don't need a 4-3.
Give or take a caution flag or two, an extra lap. Maybe take a lap away.
No. If they extend it to a 433, Mike James has to come in and call the rest of it.
100%. You can see Hallahan dropping back a little bit, still in the top 10 in that 33 car, but having a solid run. Aiden McDonald finding some issues once again in that 133 car. Looks like we're able to keep it green, but that 133 car off the pace in a big way.
Yeah, real slow in action. Now the leaders, Caden, Tufts, are coming up too. Those slower cars, so they're going to have to mind their P's and Q's and stand in the way of the leader here. 199 coming up to 200 in the books. 133 remaining next time they come around here. Oh boy, how do you traverse this here? You've got two cars. 24, they're going to split right down the middle. Caden Tufts dynamite through, but now the rest of the field, they're stuck behind the number 133 with 133 left to go.
Say that 5 times fast. You can see Wooldridge finally able to break through that lap traffic. We saw that 24 car Christensen have a bit of an incident a couple laps to go, and you can see losing a lap there of it. Mike Alexander move onboard action. Now you can see that gap that's now between Tufts and Wooldridge. About 0.6 of a second, 8.9 back to third.
202 of 333. You know, you could even say with 2 laps to go, the race is just beginning, but you got to be there at the end. DeWeese, who's had an up and down afternoon, they are now side by side with Richard Drake, as you can see on the screen. Richard himself's had an up and down day, almost wrecking earlier, riding the wall, but the one is still running strong here at the back end of the 333.
Up and down, bottom to top for the 141. You can see using that extreme high side all the way up by that safer barrier, all the way around this racetrack. It's a bit different than down on the bottom side before. You can see a little bit higher than Alexander, a little bit higher than Messer there in the one car right behind him.
2x2 racing. Caden Tufts the leader. A bit of smoke. Maybe Richard Drake may have kissed the wall again in the 141 car. Matt Barkhouse battling on the inside. Ryan Messer right there too. Great outside shot of the wheel of Richard Drake, just to show how close they're getting to the wall. Ooh, and Mike Alex now up close. He's in the marbles and skims the wall. I'm sure ripping some of the vinyl off that car. And maybe the 141, I think, maybe losing the tires there.
Yeah, that's one of the things we're going to have to focus in on here as well. If you see a driver, if you're focused on a driver up in front of you and they make a mistake, you may very well mirror that same mistake we saw the 75. Get a little bit of cuff. Oh, the 70 car, I believe, is down and around. 25 car in McDonald. Looks like staying green here. That's 133. Sorry about that. Got it all sorted out here, but man, how about the side-by-side battle up in front now of Richard Drake? Alexander up on the high side, Messer making it a quick fight.
And we've got some lap traffic in the mix too here, looks like. Nope, never mind. I thought it may have been some lap traffic, but it's Caden Tufts having to hold off Woolridge and DeWeese. DeWeese on the bottom. Woolridge in the blue number 0 car, 56, pardon me. Or no, the 0 car. It's coming up a little different on the score ticker there. But DeWeese looking to try and take the lead here at the 333. It's 211. The action picking up here as we're getting close to 100 left to go in the race. 122 remaining in the 333, and it's 2 wide for the first 2 rows.
And you can see just beating and banging on each other up towards the front. The 8's going to hold on to the lead for the time being as they cross the stripe. But look at the
run. Messer!
All the way up the
Messer
high
got
side.
pinched. Yeah, pinched up the track. I don't know if he made contact, but Messer was able to cross in front. I wonder if Ryan's going to try to the number 15 car if he gets close to him.
You can see able to get to that back bumper, not quite having enough steam to get down and around just yet. But as we get into the third part of this race, do we start to see a little bit of chrome horn action? You can see the one car all over the back bumper of the 15.
Chrome horn could be the possibility here shortly at the 333.
Phenomenal action all the way around this racetrack. Taking a look from the blimp, you can see everybody kind of lined up single file here at this point. Getting a little bit further on end of the run, the tires starting to wear, and we've seen a lot of different tire strategies throughout the night. You can see the Pro car all the way up to that outside safer barrier, giving it just a little bit of a scrape, and everybody else in behind there kind of following in that same line, the 75 going down to the bottom side. But you can see loses a little bit of momentum until he gets to the entry, really hammers it down in there. Might be trying something here for the final laps.
Everyone is liking the outside lane. Oh, Messer threw it in deep, but looking for that big run on Matt Barkhouse. He is surrounded by behind in 6th place. Now on board again with Ryan Messer, the Rev Racing number 15 directly in front of him. What a shot here at Bristol Motor Speedway. It's the top 6 all strung together. DeWeese has about a half-second lead in front of Caden Tufts at the moment, but still lots of racing left to go. Of course, still lots of racing left to go.
See Ryan Messer really trying to utilize different lines on the racetrack. Down to the bottom last time around, up, back up towards the top. This time crossing the stripe from lap number 220. Going a little bit further, closer to the middle that time by. So really trying some different strategies as we get closer and closer on into this one. And all that time that he's been experimenting behind the 15 car, the 75 of Alexander trying to close the gap, trying to get his car back into the top 5.
Gotta mind your P's and Q's and figure out when you want to make that move. Getting that clean air, it's crucial. You can see for DeWeese at the moment, but I think in the short term, if there's a caution, these drivers are going to want to throw some new if they can, because it just shows how quick you can get back up. Well, you could have your Richard Drake moment or your Matt Barkhouse moment where it's really going to work for you in the short term.
66 2/3% of this race is in the books. The final third of the race ready to rock and roll.
Oh, Messer.
Hard into the outside wall. We stay green. Man, that's going to knock a lot of momentum out of the psyche of that one car.
Yeah, it may have knocked something else too. We'll see how poor handling that is. One thing I was going to mention of how close they're running together. Let's say Caden Tufts gets in the wall. It's going to be tough for Woolridge and Marc to avoid that if they all get caught up in the marbles. So keep an eye on that as they're running nose to tail, 2nd to 5th at the moment here at Bristol. There's Mike Alexander throwing it on the inside line of the Barkhouse. Falling right behind again, but now keeps it on the side, trying to find something else to work here at Bristol Motor Speedway, and it seems to be working. We're going to have some lap traffic, as you can see on this onboard on the outside. Going to have a few cars in front of the leaders here shortly.
And you can see just how much that 75 car trying to make that bottom side work has been able to get around Messer. But you can see Messer, big run coming up on that top side of the racetrack and following the leaders in behind there as well. DeWeese up in the front has himself a bit of a gap as he starts to battle with this lap traffic. It's down and around the 24 car. Now sets his sights on the drivers up in further ahead of him on the track. Easy enough for me to say. Caden Tufts going to have to go through this same lap traffic. You can see as he catches up to the 24 car.
DeWeese was able to make quick work of the number 24, and now the field leaders look like they change their lane now to get. It's going to slow up the 000, and there's the 0 car attempt. Look like to the 00 car of Caden Tufts. 2 great drivers in Bandolero and 2 great drivers in Legends Racing. I'm sure here in the Maritimes coming up in the near future. Not sure if Caden's still doing Legend Race or Bandolero Racing. Made the full jump yet. And the leader will now get around the number 8 car to put another lap down on that machine. They've got themselves a decent little lead.
There you can see splitting that second and third spot, kind of splitting the seas there to get around that filter time number 8 cars. Kind of stuck on the high side here at this point, leaving that traffic. Trying to get down and around here as we work close to 100 to go.
100 left to go in the 333. We started our qualifying races at high this afternoon. A lot of caution so far in this race, and real careful saying, but right now we found that green flag rhythm. Man, I hope I don't jinx ourselves here, but you can see the pit strategy. A couple of cars have decided to go in a little earlier and some later, and right now DeWeese is the leader with 99 left to go in the 333. There will be a new race, defending champion Noel Fougere not in this race, along with the inaugural winner John Fitzpatrick, so someone else will write their name in the virtual history book for the 333 this afternoon.
Tail of the tape there on that pit strategy graphic. Mike Alexander back in 6th place, 113 laps on that set of tires. The longest anybody's seen all afternoon long. And still holding on to it, but there you see Messer able to get around on the outside. That 75 car looking for a caution here in the final third.
And who knows when and if it'll come. So Ryan Messer trying to hold off the number 75, Mike Alexander. Signs number 75. DeWeese, Tufts, Woolridge, Barkhouse, Messer, Alexander, Richard Drake still in 7th. Negus in the number 39 car, they're sitting in 8th. Montgomery, and how about Wade Craswell now getting in the top 10? They were involved in a wreck very early on in the first heat race, but now they're in the top 10, so good to see Wade having a decent run here at 333. They're actually battling with Tyler Hallahan position at the moment. Oh, yeah. Little kiss of the wall there. Opens the door for the number 33 of Hallahan to get that position.
See that right there? You can always tell when these drivers have the Vidane TV pulled up on the YouTube on the phone while they're driving. You mention their name and they go up and they kiss the wall just a little bit. But
yeah.
Wade Cresswell having a great run, 16 spots gained, having a qualifier, having a start in the back of the field due to a penalty coming up, doing a little Kevin LePage action there on the first heat race, but able to join the field here and making the best of it, having a top 10 run so far here, less than 100 laps to go. Everybody chasing down DeWeese as a half a second lead over second place, Caden Tufts.
There's a reason we're not mathematicians.
That's it. There's a reason I'm not a driver either. I get distracted easy. I don't know if I can make it around this racetrack 333 times.
I can't even do it on NASCAR heat. I like 20-lap races. 20 laps, perfect. 20
laps, hot dog. 20 laps, Coke.
Did I mention that I won a race on NASCAR heat yesterday?
Did you? How about that?
One on the Indy Road course. Yeah.
Nice. We'll have to see if we can get a little NASCAR heat action here on Vidane TV. How cool would that be?
Oh boy, that's just what we need.
Or yelling and screaming at the race cars.
Now that I got my Turtle Beach on, like it's on.
On like Donkey Kong and on like this 5th place battle. How about Messer and Alexander still side by side for that 5th position? Very impressive for the 75 car on those older tires. Probably working about 125 laps now on that set.
I bet you they're screeching at this rate. They're probably saying, please change me, my goodness, or get some time of caution so we can cool down here. But I bet if we get a caution soon enough in this last 100 laps, we're going to see some leaders go down pit road. Maybe not the lead car. It's hard to say because you don't want to give up that position, but we're seeing how good the tires situation will benefit you in the short term.
And that's going to be something that all these drivers and crew chiefs have been focusing on throughout the evening. All the different strategies drivers have used coming down to get tires, whether it's 2 tires, no tires, 4 tires, all the way around, and timing. Timing has been key. We're getting to the point in this run where I think if the caution flag does come out, everybody's going to come down pit road, except for maybe somebody in the back that might want to try and do a little bit of a gamble. But taking a peek at it, 11 cars on the lead lap here, working lap number 249. This really still anybody's race as we get down to it.
Still lots of racing left to go. And DeWeese's lead is actually shrunk here as the field is they're starting to reel in the number 8 car, starting with Caden Tufts and Tanton Woolridge and Matt Barkhouse. They have closed in considerably on DeWeese, so maybe that short-term gain for DeWeese is starting to to flutter here at Bristol Motor Speedway. 251 into 333 this afternoon. The third annual Jim Hallahan 333 for Tim's Corner Motorsports and Vidane TV. Been a lot of fun with you, Paul, again, calling another iRace here. Long one, longest of the year for the TCM events. And it's anyone's race as DeWeese's lead is shrinking lap by lap here.
And you can see there, DeWeese coming down 63 laps ago. Tufts and Woldridge a little bit longer on those tires, so they're able to kind of hold on to their track position as we get longer and longer into this run. And you can see just more and more laps getting stacked up on the 75 tires as well. But still single file. Front four cars have broken away just a little bit. Messer's still in the mix, but man, still side by side with Alexander there in the 6th position.
That's the battle a bit further back for B5, still keeping an eye on the battle for first years. DeWeese again, their lead is shrinking lap by lap. You can see it's about 0.3 of a second, closing right down to 0.2 of a second on the straightaway. Right there's Caden Tufts on board. Lap traffic will be in the way too. DeWeese kiss the wall there? Maybe. Because now the 00 is all in the 8 cars business there.
You can see Marc Lapierre, the other 8 car, going another lap down on the bottom side of the racetrack. Front 4 cars able to get away, but take a look at Tufts now. Shooting down low, trying to get a quarter in on the 8 car of the DeWeese 4 car. On timing and scoring there, but still 4 car break up in front.
DeWeese is now in defensive mode. Where do they go to try and block the number 00 Caden Tufts? Hard to say, Paul, because now in the late stage of the race, I don't know if you want the lead as, compared to earlier in the race where you'll let someone go. Okay, you can lead the race for a little bit. I'm going to save my stuff here. We're getting down to the nitty-gritty, and we don't want to get...
And we've seen some of these drivers up towards the front of the pack make mistakes all afternoon, all morning long in practice, in qualifying, e-races, consies, all that stuff. And even in the big show here, the 333 lap of the TCM 3rd Annual Jim Hallahan 333. And it's one of the things we've talked about. A lot of times when these drivers are hooked up nose to tail like this for 4, 5, 6 cars long, if somebody up towards the front of the pack makes a little bit of a mistake, maybe gets up there, kisses the wall just a little bit, it may happen more in that line further on back as drivers are really, really close to each other.
Caden Tufts, all in the mirror of the number 8 DeWeese. Caden Tufts looking to cement their name in the Jim Hallahan 33 history books. Along with DeWeese, there's going to be no repeat winner this year. Matt Barkhouse was close to winning last year. Noel Fougier, the anthem singer at Riverside Speedway, always does a great job. Looking forward to being back with him this year again. Great iRacer. I'm assuming Noel's probably working today. He's a teenager, got to work his job, But regardless, the top 4 all close together. To use a racing cliche, you can throw a blanket over Caden Tufts. I don't know if the number 8 car washed up a little bit. Almost got in the marbles. Caden Tufts has that lighter on the back end of these. When is it go time? It's 265 coming up to 266.
And you can see starting to move down the racetrack just a little bit in that 00 car for Tufts. Going to try and get a quarter panel on the 8 car, maybe sneak his way up into the lead right now. They're going to tuck back in to the tire tracks of that number 8 car. Aiden McDonald finding himself pointed in the wrong direction. Marc Lapierre involved in the 8 car. Caution flag flies once again.
Ooh, big wreck on the backstretch, including the 8 car. And hard to see what the other number is the 133.
Seen both of these drivers involved in earlier incidents. We'll back this up. Looks like the 8 car got a good bit of viewing of the action here and a little piece of it as well. Just Racing Designs instant replay. And here's the 8 car getting around the racetrack all right, and come up on the incident rather quickly here. As 8 car comes around, everything looking okay. There's the incident up ahead, the 133 up to the outside wall, and there's the tag. So that's a little bit of a hot tag there for Aiden McDonald. We'll back that up one more time there in the 133. We can tell you everybody down on pit road, it looks like, except for Tyler Hallahan, who stays out on track to lead himself a lap or two. And there you see the 133 just kind of losing the back end of the race car up into the hard wall. Oh, big hit. Huge.
God. Big hit. Big hit.
So there you see it. Tyler Hallahan actually going to come down, going to give up that lead and get some service. So putting himself on the same strategy as everybody else. Looks like Matthew Barkhouse going to win the race off of pit road. Braxton DeWeese right in behind. Tanton Woldridge going to come off third. Caden Tufts, Mike Alexander, the top five. Ryan Messer right behind him in sixth. And Richard Drake, Mitchell Montgomery going to be the drivers coming off pit road. And that's going to be how they get restarted here. Getting down to the nitty-gritty in double digits here left to go.
Getting down to her. So we'll be around the 275 mark when we reboot.
A little boot scooting boogie around this racetrack for 333 laps with some of our closest friends here in the sim racing world. Thank you so much for joining us here on Vidane TV, on YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, all that good stuff. Find us on all the social media outlets and join the conversation with hashtag Vidane TV. Let your friends and family know with a quick like, subscribe, share, all that good stuff that you're watching a little iRacing action. Before we get into some football and some hockey later on this afternoon, sports all over the place today on a Sunday.
Football, hockey, European handball, I'm sure. Everywhere. Rocket League on streaming services.
Grand Theft Auto action.
Yeah. Yes, indeed. So the pace lights are still on the car. Matt Barkhouse and DeWeese now at the front row. How about Matt Barkhouse down? Getting tangled up in a wreck earlier in the race, but on the short term, they made a tire change, and man, that number 15 was on rails after. So there's the pit strategy there, and Matt Barkhouse gained a number of positions on pit road. This will be a very interesting restart once they come around turn 3 and 4.
Let's give a call to Wade Craswell, biggest mover of the race so far. 19 spots gained from back where he started. We're running in the top 10, currently in 8th in that 67 car. Side-by-side, massive restart. Going a little bit early there for Barkhouse, but all well and good here in the world of iRacing and a half. Maybe 3-4 car lengths over DeWeese in second.
And can DeWeese get the big run on the outside? It looks like the 15 is going to be taking that middle line at least start here. DeWeese closes in. 273 in the books. Oh, Barkhouse clips the wall. Barkhouse clipped the wall coming out of turn 2. He's still side by side with DeWeese. Don't think there was any help there. I just wonder if maybe he got in the marbles there or corrected the car. And we'll see, and I think he just did it again here too, Paul.
And again, we saw it happen earlier on to Richard Drake in the 141, getting up into the outside wall and taking a couple of laps to get your psyche all sorted out. You can see hard racing side by side. Couldn't even stick a piece of paper in between those two cars there. Phenomenal racing side by side. Barkhouse trying to recover mentally here from that little bit of a hiccup. And you can see just how much stronger that high side really is. Both drivers on the same tires here as well. So this is all going to come down as you see Tanton Woldridge get a little piece of that wall there as well.
Now, the thought process of staying close to the wall, if you do hit the wall, you're not going to be hitting it as hard. That not that big space in between. So if you do get up into it, if you're close enough, it may not hurt the car too much. It doesn't look like it's hurt the 15 at all here, as Matt Barkhouse is still holding the lead here at the 333. Tanton Woldridge was another kiss the wall there. Top 6 again, super close together. Ryan Messer may have just a little bit there, as now the number past the top 7, top 8 really have all been in this picture the entire event so far this afternoon. Ryan Messer in the number 1 on the outside of the 75. It's still Matt Barkhouse leading 280 in the books at the 333.
And still side by side, even after another set of tires, these guys are going to fight forever. Messer in the 1, Barkhouse in, or Alexander rather, in the 75, swapping positions back and forth move. Richard Drake now wants a little bit of the action as well. You may have mentioned 7-car breakaway. Everybody knows the tail. Front 7, anybody can win it.
It's anyone's race. Still lots of time to go. DeWeese smothering the back end of the number 15. Tanton Woolridge in third. Fourth, it's Caden Tufts. And DeWeese again closes in. Gets the 15 loose. Oh, he overcorrects. Big hit.
Big bump there for Barkhouse. He is still parked, pointing in the wrong direction. It looks like the car. Big time damage there, but man, oh man, that is going to slide him all the way back. And you're getting to the point of the race now where we don't quite have as many laps as we did when we kicked this thing off. So sense of urgency going to be a big thing here for that 15 car.
So obviously the 8 gave a little bit of a shot, but I'm wondering if just the car was faster. Right there. And just the 15 was slideways, the overcorrection, just boom.
Yeah, and there you see it getting laid on into this room. You really, if you're the 8 car, you really don't want to let off too much. You can see just a little bit of a tap. Tried to check up there, but Tanton Woolridge was there and behind. So 8 car really nowhere for him to slow down or go at that point. And unfortunately, Matthew Barkhouse going to have to restart. Looks like outside of the top 10 after coming down to get some damage fixed on that 15.
And a tough break there, as you mentioned, for Tanton Woolridge. A little bit of damage. They're going to stay on the track, though, in first and take the gamble. But again, the top 2, DeWeese and Barkhouse, on pit road. At least DeWeese went back there for a bit. Barkhouse is on pit road, and maybe it's too much to fix. Wow.
Who's that at the door?
Tim.
Oh, yeah, there we are. I just want to point out that Braxton was very quick to own up to that yellow. Apologized very quickly, didn't want to do that. So tough break for 2 of the quickest race cars here. They'll go to the back of the field and try to fight it back out. Give a call out to Dylan Black. So Dylan Black missed the call to the... Hold on. Hold on. I'm going to go handle something. Hold on.
I'm guessing there's some drivers having a disagreement.
That is a real possibility, but we're not sure why. We're going to give Dylan Black a little shout out.
I can gather probably he started at the back of this field, and he's in P11 now. So, Tim, what the heck's going on?
We were looking at an incident there with the top 2. But yeah, no, we're Dylan Black. Give a call out to him. He was 4 laps down, missed the call to the initial green flag. He is now 1 lap down. So he is the only car 1 lap down. He may be able to get back on the lead lap by the end of this.
Wow. So there's a possibility that Dylan Black, if the cards fall right with less than 50 to go, you never know. Car's looking pretty good there, not too beat up. Speaking of beat up, about half the field gone in this race. Green flag is back out in the 333. Barkhouse is back on track after that incident. Now obtains the lead. Caden Tufts in second. Ryan Messer, Alexander, Mitch Montgomery, Tyler Hallahan, Richard Drake, DeWeese, Barkhouse, and Craswell, the top 10. And as mentioned, the Dylan Black car, the only one on lap. Oh, what's going on here?
8 car Lapierre finding himself in a bad way. Looks like going to jump down to the pit stairs. Scary situation if you're the leaders.
Oh, man.
My, oh, my. Caution number 14 here on 289.
See, that happens in NASCAR heat when someone gets wrecked and they try paying him back.
Yeah, we'll have to take a peek. Marc Lapierre on his way towards a top 10, top 15 run and finding the outside wall here. Looks like got the cars wrecked here. We'll back up to U-House Racing Design instant replay and just looking like losing the back end of the car on that 8 car.
See, he loses it and boots it in.
Yeah, there you see the leaders coming up in it.
What are you doing?
Yeah, I got a feeling that is going to be... There's some contact there with Hallahan in the 33 car getting a piece of that. So I got a feeling we're not going to be seeing too much more of that 8 car here throughout the rest of the night. And it looks like that 8 car ejecto-cedo.
Wow. Common sense.
But there you see, wide angle shot there. That baby blue car up in the front. Tanton Woolridge holding on to this lead. We've seen some great restarts from the 00 of Caden Tufts. Ryan Messer up in the mix as well. Mitchell Montgomery there in fourth. Tyler Hallahan up in the fifth spot. Wade Craswell, made mention of him, the 67. 21 spots gained. He's earned that sixth spot he's running in. Easy enough for me to say. Mike Alexander, Dylan Black there in eighth. Dylan Black, the 08 car, 4 laps down on the lead lap with an opportunity to win the big one here this afternoon.
Well. Coming up to 40 laps to go in the 3:33 here at Bristol Motor Speedway. It's been a race, put it to you that way. It's been a race.
It has been a bit of an ordeal. And you can see triple zeros across the front of the starting grid, or the restarting grid, as it were. Woolridge going to choose that bottom side. Tufts up on the high side. You can see Messer been strong all day in that one car. Right in behind him, the 12 of Montgomery is there. Hallahan is there. Craswell is there as well. Lined up 2 by 2 all the way through 11 cars on the lead lap. And once again, we made mention that 08 car, Dylan Black, back on the lead lap after missing the initial start and going 4 laps down. Incredible perseverance for that 08 car.
Would you say that he's back in black?
I know all the words to the guitar solo.
Really?
Yes, I do. And Tanton Woolridge in that 0 car. Great jump up into the high side. He's going to try and block, maybe not block, but hold on tightly to that high side. And you can see Tufts going to take a peek down low. He might not want that top side.
No, he's going to the bottom, and Caden Tufts slides. They both slid out of turn 4, and Tanton Woolridge has the lead. 3 young guns, and it's, Ryan Messer is usually one of the youngest drivers racing on the Pro Stock Tour, or any Pro Stock division, but Ryan there is the elder statesman in the top 3, and then you get Mike Alexander, who has the most experience of racing out of the 4, and Mike there has got some big speed on the inside, cuts around the number 1 of Ryan Messer. Magic Mike using his magic skills and with fresh tires on the bottom, looking to get P2 from Tufts. Tufts throws a block on the inside.
Made mention all afternoon along the 1 and the 75 side by side. We saw Messer. Hey, where the heck's Mike out? Oh, there he is. He gets down and around. 15 lap fresher tires came down under this last caution. Still side by side between the 00 and the 0. The 75 car is there. Messer back just a little bit, but definitely still in contention for this one.
And Caden Tufts, they're in a rock and a hard place right now. Caden did not hit Tanton Woolridge. Tanton Woolridge hits the wall. Ran into real estate. He ran into real estate. Caden Tufts is the leader, but for how much longer? Because Mike was throwing lots of pressure on the 00 car. 3 wide coming at a turn 4, just didn't work. Unfortunately, Woolridge found the wall first and pounded it hard. We're still green flag racing and side-by-side racing now between the and the 75. Mike Alexander looking 3:33 victory with 33 left to go.
And on that 33 lap to go marker, put the 75 car in the lead, but for how long? Once these tires even on out, we might see a hard charge there from Tufts. I'm still kind of flabbergasted that we saw the bottom of Tanton Woolridge's car, and we're still green here at this point. You can see well off the pace there, the 15 trying to get down and around, but gotta give a call to Woolridge in that 0 car. Great car control, able to hold on to it, keep this thing green flag here.
Yeah, the fans saw the undercarriage too. Wow. So up in front, it's Mike Alexander. Look at the lead. At the very back end of the 3 here this afternoon at Bristol Motor Speedway. What a change of events here at Bristol.
Getting down to a paycheck time here. $75 to win here, and we're going to have a third name. Count them 3. One of the names going to be etched into the history books as the third winner of the Jim Hallahan at 3:33. And Mike Alexander in the catbird seat right now has about a second just shy over that 00 Caden Tufts in second.
Caden Tufts trying everything, but the fresher tires and the 75 paying off big time for Mike Alexander. Even Ryan Messer tangling with DeWeese for third at the moment here. on Vidane TV and Tim's Corner Motorsports, the Jim Hallahan 333. DeWeese on the inside of Ryan Messer. Ryan from Harvey, New Brunswick, to let the number 8 car go for a moment.
Trying to get up here and join us in a booth. Going to be talking to the top 3 drivers post-race show here in the Turn 4 podcast post-race show here on Vidane TV. Alexander out to a 2.5 lead. And you can see that 3 car really starting to burn that candle on both ends. Got around the 1 car of Messer and has his sights now set on the back bumper of Tufts in the 00.
Yeah, I know there's been a lot of cautions in this race, but everyone, I should say, besides Mike Alexander, I bet they will see a caution right now to get some fresh tires on if they have them, to get that last run here. Because right now, DeWeese is looking to get around the number double of Caden, Tufts, and DeWeese. Maybe they're on the same strategy. Mike Alexander, 2-second lead over third right now.
Exactly what Alexander wants to see when he looks into the rearview mirror, but also got to keep in mind lap traffic could very well play a factor into this one. We've seen that happen all night long in the heat races, consolation races, and even here in the main event. But how about this side-by-side between the 8 of DeWeese and 00 there of Caden Tufts. Tufts sliding on back to third, but for how long? Really trying to use that high side. Doesn't quite get there. The 8 completes the pass with 22 laps to go.
And the DeWeese takes the high lane, and the 00 Caden Tufts tried the inside. It didn't work there. The tires are just worn out on the 00.
Tire management going to be a factor in this one for the most part. Everybody out there on about the same tires. Alexander, 15-lap fresher tires coming down under that last caution flag, and you can see he's kind of driven off into the sunset. Let these guys battle it out about 2.5 seconds on back. Ryan Messer still hanging tough there as well in that 1 car. You can see a little bit of damage there on the front of the car, but all in all, not so bad. The 00 up into the outside wall gives it a little bit of a scuff. How about this 3-way battle here? The 12 car Mitchell Montgomery having a solid run. Matthew Barkow, Scott Negus right in the mix.
Just got to be careful that 3-wide racing. We saw what happened with the leaders a little noon, where Tanton Woolridge went for the wild ride, and Tanton now is 1 lap down in 11. So Dylan Black spin on the front stretch. That's Montgomery. It's not going to draw the caution.
How about that? The 12 car pointed in the wrong direction, gathers it back up, grabs a gear, and gets on going. And the green flag stays out here. 17 laps to go for Alexander.
But yeah, Mike Alexander was praying to the gods above, saying, please do not bring that yellow flag out. Only 12 cars running on track. Top 10 are all on the lead lap here. Montgomery's about to be caught by the leader here shortly. Chris Ewing in 12th, 22 laps down, but still there.
Oh, Dylan Black up into the wall. That's going to bring out the caution flag. That is big.
Oh, no. And I think Mike's brother, Matt, may have been involved in that.
It looks like the 8th place driver, the 15, getting a big piece of that, already calling for that tow truck. We'll back it up here on the U-House Racing Designs instant replay. And I was just getting ready to ask you, Dylan, what do you do if the caution flag flies? Do you stay out and hold on, or do you pit, take 4? Yeah, I guess, pit, take 4.
Take 4.
Maybe a quick ice cream sandwich or something. To
maybe that hot dogs, pizza.
That'd be awesome.
But so that started with Matt Barkhouse, and Craswell maybe kissed the 15 and then just nowhere to go for Dylan Black.
Yeah, we'll back that up once again to find out. Looks like the 15 and Negus
39
there. So it started about a quarter lap. There you see Barkhouse getting the outside wall, holds on to it. 39 car Negus. Little bit of net code, I think, in that one. It looked like there was still a bit of an air gap between those guys. That's tough. Going for the same piece of real estate there, you see frustrated in the 15 car. Dylan Black, unfortunately, just nowhere for him to go in that one. And, well, it looks like we were about half and half on the takers down on pit road. DeWeese, Negus, Hallahan, Craswell all staying out on track. Caden Tufts going to be the first driver to come down and take tires.
So. Who is going down pit road to change her up in the later part of this race? DeWeese looks like they're going to take the gamble of staying out.
Yeah, missing the pit stops as we were taking a peek at the replay there. Just trying to look through. Looking like the top 4 drivers have stayed out on track. I believe Tufts is going to be the first car with 4 fresh tires. And that's big. The 67 car Craswell starting shotgun on the field. Up, going to restart in that 4th position if he doesn't come down and take tires. That's going to be huge here with about 9 to go and we get ready to restart.
Oh, baby. Hang on to something. If you have a cold drink, get it ready. Tyler Hallahan is running 3rd in this race right now. Could you imagine?
How cool would it be?
Of course, this race named after his late grandfather, the Hallahan. Here we are. It's going to be a 10-lap dash to the finish. 5th on back. They all have fresh tires on. And the green flag is out for DeWeese. Oh, Hallahan's going to be pinched there. As the 3 cars, Craswell will also fall back here too. DeWeese is going to be on the deep time. Caden Tufts gets around the number 39 car. Tufts on the move.
As is Messer in the 1, making it happen on the high side, trying to close on in. 9 laps to go now, and there you can see Tufts like a rocket ship all the way down on the bottom side of the racetrack, going to take over the lead with ease, it looks like, getting around the 8 car, clearing it and setting sight on that sunset. Clean racetrack out in front, 8 laps to go for Tufts.
It just proves again the tires were everything in this race. 7 laps to go. Ryan Messer gets underneath DeWeese, followed up by Mike Alexander. Here we go. DeWeese falls back to P4. The top 3 all have fresh rubber on.
Crossing the stripe, 6 laps to go. Tufts in front by about a quarter of a second, but you can see Ryan Messer, Alexander in behind him, and those 2 drivers been swapping positions back and forth, fighting each other. Tooth and nail 4th position. You can see all of our up on the podium right now, chasing down that 00 of Tufts.
5 laps to go. Ryan Messer closes right in on the bumper. Tufts is on the defense, trying to block that lower lane. Messer all over the bumper, the 00 car. Can he force him up the track? Gets that nose there, doesn't want to make too much contact with 4 laps to go. For Mike Alexander, do you just sit and wait? Do you sit in that catbird seat, or do you pounce when you see an opportunity? 3 left to go in the Jim Hallahan 333 with Caden Tufts, young gun in bandos and legends. Messer at a wall up on the brakes. Here comes Messer on the inside. They're going to try not touch each other with 2 laps to go. 2 left at the 333, and Caden Tufts is blocking for all he's got. But now Ryan Messer is side by side. I'm betting there's probably going to be a wreck the way these guys are racing. One more time around for the 333. Mike Alexander seat. Can Caden Tufts get this win? Or the 1, or the 75? Contact! They still go straight down the backstretch to the final corner. Who's going to win the 333? Contact! Ryan Messer shoves the... And Ryan Messer comes across the start-finish line first, but will that stand?
Absolutely incredible finish here. Green flag finish for the 3rd annual Jim Hallahan 333. Ryan Messer crossing the stripe first. Little bit of a controversial finish, though. We'll see if it sticks. Holy cow, what a race.
What a finish. So there's the race results with Ryan Messer, Mike Alexander, Caden Tufts. We don't want to say who's won, because there's been a couple times with the last corner bump where the black flag has made an appearance, though. But I'm sure we'll get word here from Double T Tim Terry. Either way, it's a new race winner for the 333. Let's go back and watch that lap if we can. The last corner.
A little bit of slow motion action, and you can see Messer doing everything he can. Gonna make mention there, he did the old TC Teddy Christopher 13 move there. I believe that right there was the second. No, that was the 3rd tap. because it's 1-2, and then the third one you go around. So you can see a little short track bumpski there from the one. He's going to cross the stripe first. Tufts is going to end up crossing the line here in third behind Mike Alexander. And man, what a crazy finish.
Insane. 333 laps, and it came down to the final corner here at the Jim Hallahan 333.
And we'll take a look at that finishing order. Messer, Alexander, Tufts, right now the top three, waiting the official word from the big boss man, Tim Terry. Mitchell Montgomery there in fourth. Braxton DeWeese back to fifth. Dylan Black, how about a recovery for him? 4 laps down at one point. Going to finish this one off in sixth. Scott Negan, Tyler Hallahan, good run for him up in eighth. Wade Craswell and Matthew Barkhouse to top 10. Even
Chris Ewing staying on the track there and getting a P11. They had a real up and down race. Tim Terry's in here. Tim, what's the word?
We sat back and looked at that for a while. There's 3 of us down there taking a look at it, and while there's going to be no tap on that caution, which would be the first thing, or the incident, which would be the first thing, we did not find any malicious contact or anything of fault of the sort. We deemed it a racing deal. As much as it would suck for Caden, Ryan Messer is your winner. Results are going to stand as they are on your screen.
So there we are. It's official. Big Orange, Ryan Messer, 23. Jim Hallahan, 333 here at Bristol. And Ryan's with us. Ryan, 333 laps. It came down to the final corner. How about that?
Yeah, that was quite a race.
It obviously showed, too, that tires were everything. You all made the last chance pit there with 10 to go, and you stormed through the field, you, Caden, and Mike at the end. Was that your plan to use a little bit of the chrome horn, or did it just play out that way?
It kind of just played out that way. I don't like to even use the bumper to try to make a pass or lean on someone like that, but I knew the car was working good on the bottom, and then I tried to get on it hard, and I knew I started to push up, so I breathed off it again, and we just touched, and on the sim here, you make just small contact like that in the wrong spot, and it can send the car around just like nothing. Like in a real car, we probably would have kept going and drag race back to the line, but just it is what it is. I mean, I didn't mean to wreck Caden at all. Like, I wanted to drag race back to the line for it. So I do apologize to him for that. Yeah, no, it was just a great race overall.
And then that point too there, Ryan, you've got Mike Alexander, a great iRacer in your mirror. Were you front or at the back, or just at equal, kind of cross-eyed at the same time?
Yeah, there's a lot of stout competition. It seemed like me and Mike would be going back and forth all race long. Just this race was I hadn't run it before. This is my first 333, and it's an absolute marathon to try to make it to the end of one of these. And just me and him were racing good the whole time, and yeah, it was a lot of fun.
And the race, of course, is in memory of Jim Hallahan. You've been doing the pro for a bit. And any memories of interacting with Jim at the track?
I never got the pleasure to meet him personally, but I heard he was a great guy and he's big in the racing world. So, yeah.
So 2023, it's on the horizon. There's a lot of pro stock racing now in New Brunswick. Plans sticking with 660, doing the new late model series, some pro stock stuff. What's the plan?
As of right now, we're going to run the new super late model series. I think that's going to be a blast. There's going to be a lot of good car counts for that. We're going to do all the big ones at Speedway 660. And then we're going to try to run Shediac at the end of the year. Just try to fit in some other big shows in here and there.
You got a long list of supporters and sponsors. Who do you got?
I got to thank my girlfriend, my mom and dad, and all my grandparents. They all like to watch when I get on and run these races, so I think they're all watching tonight. Just got to thank you guys for broadcasting, and Tim for putting these races on. He's putting them on all winter long and gives us something to do in the off season, and they're a lot of fun. I will also give a shout out to my real world sponsors, the Waterfront Pub and Eatery, McLaughlin Overhead Doors, the Cabin Restaurant, Bumper to Bumper, Wonder Muffler, Cook's Construction, Watson's Home Building Center, Thunder and Lightning Motorsports, Rec Auto CarQuest, Excel Manufacturing, Northeast Distributors, Castrol, Dana's, CSN Collision Centers, MC Hammer, Service Master. Yeah, no, it was just an awesome day.
Well, you certainly brought us to the edge of our seat here on the last lap. Congrats. 3:33. Go have a nap now.
Yeah, thank you.
That's Ryan Messer, the winner of the 2023 3:33. And we'll wrangle up second place because he's in with us too. Mike Alexander, always strong running. Mike, you were in that catbird seat for the last couple of laps. What was that like watching Caden and Ryan battle for the win there?
It was a fun race at the end. I really wish that last yellow hadn't come out. That really hurt my strategy. And then that last pit stop, I just must have clicked fuel on by accident, and Caden ended up beating me out. But I think, honestly, if I hadn't done that, I think I would have beat him out of the pits, and we would have had a better shot. But, still happy with a second place finish. But I really wanted this one.
Would it have been maybe a bit smarter to stay out, or is it just proving, again, you needed to get new tires?
No, you needed the new tires there. I don't think. We seen it with the 8 car there. He stayed out, and he just got eaten up there at the end. Like, the new tires are just so much better for the first 15 laps or so that you can't do anything with the guy that has them. So it's what you got to do.
So those last corners, I know you're probably in a tough spot where you want to press, but we saw the 00 and the 1 get into it there in the last corner. How close were you to making the move maybe right before?
There wasn't really anywhere to go. I was just trying to, hope something opened up, and maybe if they got together, I'd try to take advantage of it. But there wasn't anywhere really for me to go. I was kind of at the mercy. If they're going to run side by side, there's nowhere for me to go, and I just kind of had to wait for them to do something.
So you're doing lots of iRacing. You got your Xander Signs group. Well, what's 2023 looking like for you?
I don't know if I'll get out racing or not. We might get the sportsman car out, but for right now, I'm just kind of focused on my business, trying to get that more successful and get that going before I do the fun stuff.
Who do you want to thank for another good finish here, Mike?
I'll thank Arnar Kinsman's Auto Salvage, Xander Sign Group, Excel Property Services, Matt, and all the guys at Rev Racing, and Tim for putting this on, and Tyler, and you guys. But I think that's it.
All right, man. Well, congrats on the second place finish.
Thanks, man.
Mike Alexander finishing second in the 3:33. We'll chat with the third place finisher here quickly, Caden Tufts as well. Caden, man, came down to the final corner, little contact at the end. What's the thoughts after that?
Just straight disappointment, honestly. That's all I really have to say.
Last caution there, everyone takes tires, and you were flying through, but did you think you were able to hold off both boys enough at the end without a little contact there?
I mean, it kind of proved there I wasn't able to hold them off. I guess I got them inside, and I guess that caused me to get turned, I guess. I don't know. But I think we had speed to win it. I mean, we were able to lead a couple laps this whole race, so that's pretty much it, yeah.
How did you not get tangled up with Tanton's wreck there?
Honestly, I'm not too sure. I just seen him starting to go up, and I started turning left, so I would be away from him if he got into the wall there. So we were able to get around that one and kept the car clean pretty much the whole night until So I don't really have much else to say. I'd first off like to thank Tim and Jim, or not Jim. I guess you can say Jim too. Jim, Tyler, all those guys that put this event on. I'd first off like to thank them, and you guys for putting this broadcast on. I mean, it's definitely a tough break for us, but I'm just glad we were able to make the show and pull off a third place. What's the new year looking like for you this season, buddy? It right now it's not looking the greatest of greatest. We are still waiting for tires to come in, so if we don't get any tires, then it's not gonna be a good look for us, and we're might be looking like parking the car for the year. So we just gotta hope we get some tires in, and then go from there.
Well, fingers crossed it happens, man. Want to see you at the track this summer. Great racing, Caden. We'll.
Thank you, guys. I appreciate it. I'd also like to thank all my sponsors too: Brad One Mortgages, LBT Pallets, Gazro Transfer. Premier Racing Setups, Timberley Beverage Room. You guys can all enjoy your night. And thank you guys for putting this on.
Caden Tufts finishing third in a thrilling matter there, Tim. You know, we were saying
Yeah, that was a great, exciting, maybe more exciting than we wanted to see finish of it. But congratulations to Ryan Messer, Mike Alexander, Caden Tufts. 25 lead changes today in this one. Good to see. We got Tyler in here. Tyler, you didn't get up to a top 10 or a top 5 to get your Big Mac for the day. But what'd you think of that? That was a fun day.
That was extremely fun. You know, long, grueling race, and I'm pretty happy to come home 8th. That's my best finish in this race. So my goal today, was the win. But, you know, there's a lot of fast guys. Everyone's so close. And a lot of respectful drivers that race this race. And I'm really happy to bring home 8th.
And especially with the few cautions that we had and everything else, you kept that car fairly clean all day long, too.
Yeah, it wasn't too bad. The past couple races that we did, I was in most of the wrecks. But today, you know, got in a couple little skiffles, but nothing major. No major damage. And I finished on the lead lap. Now I'm really hungry, and my arms are sore.
You didn't have anything to eat before, did you?
No, I only got half of my Sour Patch watermelons in me before the race started. I'm snacking on them now.
Well, there you go. It's time for a Big Mac or something. But before we let you go, what about that kid in the one car that won the race today? Put on a show at the end.
Oh yeah, Ryan? He did a great job today, just managing the whole race. You know, he's one of the good drivers on the Pro Stock Tour. Well, I think he mainly runs in Fredericton, but I've watched him race when I'm up in Shediac and everything, and he's always one of the stout guys to watch out for.
And the 00 was up there for a little while at the end too.
He was, yes. This 00, I like him. He's okay.
Go grab something to eat. Thanks again. Great afternoon in memory of Papa, and we'll do it again next year, I'm sure.
Thank you, and for sure, and thanks to everybody who helps put it on, and thanks to my grandfather up in the sky.
Yeah, he saw a great show today. A couple of cautions there in the middle of it, Paul, but great show. Good to have Dillan back. Our next race is sometime in March. We're not sure when. The showcase is April 6th. Ryan's locked himself into the showcase now with the win here. So plenty to do in between now and then. But we'll be back in March. We got Mike on the Rock to run. We're probably going to throw a Super Speedway race in. We'll do some super late model stuff and then close it off with the All-Star Showcase in April. But Paul, great finish. Congratulations to everybody. And thanks for everybody for coming out today. And we'll do it again soon. What do you got on the horizon? You've got RBR coming up. We've got a Wednesday Tim's Corner coming up. I believe we are going to have Dan McLeod on from Scotia Speed World this week. And then you're taking over the reins for Tim's Corner Live. We're going to change time a little bit on it. So Tim's Corner and RBR can do a little bit of bench racing and desk driving racing and all that fun stuff. But what else do you got on the horizon?
Yeah, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday this week. Doubleheader on Tuesday night with Liberty Racing League returning to Vidane TV. They're running the 87 cars, I believe, on at Atlanta Motor Speedway, so that's going to be a lot of fun. The Carplex Racing Series from Western Canada joining us late Tuesday night. RBR on Wednesday, NEP on Thursday, and a little bit more of entertaining the masses here like we do on Vidane TV. But that's going to wrap things up here. I'm hungry, too. I'm going to grab something to eat. We'll catch you on the flip side, and when we do, we are going to be doing it live.